You finally found the perfect car. In racing, you finally found the perfect car. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights.
Good evening and welcome into FloHockey in the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Ezra Janello joined by Johnny Lazarus tonight. Game 1 of the 62-game regular season here in the USHL. The Lumberjacks, they take on the team they last faced at the end of last season, the defending Western Conference champion Waterloo Blackhawks. Johnny, it promises to be an exciting game.
And there's a lot of young players in this game, Ezra, who right off the bat need to get their nerves out of the way. First game of the season, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, a lot of people in this building, a lot of big names. I mean, 3-time Stanley Cup champion Pat Maroon is in the house with the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Yeah. How exciting is that? But hockey's back. It's great to be here, and the energy has been unbelievable so far here in Pittsburgh.
The energy's been great. Already a game under our belt here at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex. It was Dubuque and Sioux City, a commanding win for the Fighting Saints. The Eastern Conference has won. I always feel like that's not talked about. How does the Eastern Conference fare off against the Western Conference? Because you're not playing teams in your own conference at this event. Dubuque, they take care of business against Sioux City. Western Conference in Waterloo, they're looking to even up the score, but it gives us a chance to see who they're trusting with that first shift. Tonight's starting lineups presented by IHOP. Ty Mason, Chase Chate, and Drew Waterfield up front for the Hawks. Wyatt Harris, Atay Viklam, and Phileas Lasha in between the pipes for the Hawks. We talked a bit on the pregame show, the West Michigan Honda Dealers pregame show about Lasha. Johnny, this is a guy that a lot of NCAA scouts are going to have circled on their line charts.
Well, he's got a great athletic frame in that cage for the Waterloo Blackhawks, but again, doesn't have a ton of experience in this league. He played 31 games in the North American League last year, only 3 games with the Waterloo Blackhawks, as well, last season. So this is a big, big showing for him. And Lasha is a guy who, again, there's going to be a lot of pressure on right away with the offensive flair that Muskegon has. So he's got to make a couple saves in the first 5 minutes, calm himself down, get his rhythm in, and just play his game from there on out.
And across the ice, Chuck Blanchard, the newest Lumberjack acquired just Friday afternoon. After the Kids Day game, Lumberjacks president Steve Lowe came to the office, said, Ez, get your fingers ready to write a release. We just acquired Chuck Blanchard from Cedar Rapids. Drew Stewart, another former rider turned Lumberjack. They're joined by that Game 5 hero, Jack Christ. An overtime game-winning goal to cap off the hat trick in Game 5. Danny Clares, Adam Belusco, and Carl Axelson, they rounded out.
Well, up front, you get a little bit of experience to start the game, too. Jack Christ, I mean, who's got better experience than him right now after having that hat trick in Game 5, the OT winner, obviously. But all 3 of those players 05 birth years, so they have a little bit of that maturity, of that edge over some of their other teammates. So you start the guys who have been here before, who know this league, know the game, and know what to expect. Let them get that first 45-second shift and calm the rest of the bench nerves down.
Carl Axelson as well, a guy that has experience at this showcase. In fact, he played against the Lumberjacks last year, picked up an overtime win as a member of the Sioux Falls Stampede. But, Johnny, that's not the impressive part about Carl Axelson. It's his time in the North American League that's impressive about Carl.
The North American League's always been known to be a bit of a goalie league, and Carl Axelson is proof of that last year with the numbers he put up, a .937 save percentage and a 1.74 goals against. But guess what? The talent level from USHL to North American Hockey League, and I don't mean any disrespect to the North American Hockey League because that's the league I played in, there's a huge disparity. I mean, some of these guys in the USHL, you're going to see, top NHL draft picks, stars in the NCAA. In the North American League, you're not really seeing that every night like you are in the USHL. Yep. You're playing against the best of the best in this country. So a big test for Axelson here to start off the season, but one that I think he's ready for.
And a name that we didn't really talk about in the pregame show that gets the nod to make his USHL debut today. He'll start off up front or on the back end with Danny Clares. That's Adam Belusco. We know there's the rule change, and a lot of players are flipping sides of the border. Belusco, he comes south of the border. Played last year in the WHL in Brandon for the Wheat Kings. The Slovakian-born defenseman, a 2006 birth year. He produces offense as a defenseman. You pair that with a steady defenseman like Danny Clares out of Wayzata, Minnesota, and Coach St. Clair has a winning formula for shift number one.
Belusco is a guy, too, coming from the WHL and now learning about the USHL and the opportunities that it has to offer. This is a game where he has to showcase himself,
yes.
Right? There's scouts in the building, and that's why you make the transition from the WHL to the USHL, because you want to put yourself in front of more Division I college scouts. He's an uncommitted player who's already proven himself, throughout his junior career, but this is really a big showing for him this weekend.
We met the starting lineups. How about the guys out of the lineups? Let's meet the scratches first for the visiting Lumberjacks of Muskegon. Samuel Doyon Cataquiz gets the night off. Will Keene will back up Carl Axelson. Nick Coring and Jackson Walsh there in the stands alongside the injured Tynan Lawrence. Victor Noringer, talk about gaining the trust of NHL teams. Noringer comes to North America. He joins the Lumberjacks. Well, he's not here in Pittsburgh. He's in Nashville at the Predators training camp this week.
What an experience for him. But those are some two big-name players that are missing for Muskegon in this game. Tynan Lawrence, last year's Clark Cup MVP, probably one of the most highly touted prospects there are in the NHL Central Scouting coming into this year. He's definitely going to get drafted. I'm very confident in saying he's going to get drafted. I don't want to jinx the guy. But missing his flair, missing his poise as the captain of this team as well out there today is going to be a huge loss. And then obviously a great opportunity for Noringer. You don't want to – obviously you want him out here, but you don't want to take away an opportunity from a guy to go to an NHL training camp.
It is. It's so nice having top-end talent on your roster. Sometimes, though, you're saying, I wish we had them. But you know what? This is what the USHL is about, preparing players for that next level. Noringer, he's at training camp. He's going to get a couple games with the Predators, and he's going to come back to Muskegon and take part in the USHL regular season. Let's meet the guys out of the lineup for Waterloo. Caleb Dinovich and Morgan Brady, both on the IR to start the season. Salvatore Viviano and Jakov Matovich out of the lineup in the stands tonight for the Hawks, who take to the ice. Carl Axelson, he leads the Lumberjacks out on their end. And Johnny, before the national anthem, I know you got three guys in the white jerseys tonight you want to talk about.
So for Waterloo, we're going to be talking about Chase Jete, coming off of an unreal playoff performance last year. He had 13 points in 15 games, 15 goals in the regular season. And this year, I think he might double his scoring total with an elevated role. Then a guy that is making his junior hockey debut, Owen DeGraff, a Penn State commit out of Long Island, played for the Long Island Gulls. He's already scored a couple goals in the preseason. He's young, but he's physically mature, a power forward who's an offensive weapon. So I'm looking at those two guys specifically for the Waterloo Blackhawks. And then Brock Schultz, another leader for them who's coming in and has to set the tone for the rest of this group.
We'll talk Lumberjacks, but we'll talk Lumberjacks on the back end of the national anthem. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Lumberjacks and Waterloo Blackhawks here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Welcome back into FloHockey, Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Services. A very special welcome to those tuning in for free on the Lumberjacks and FloHockey social media channels. It's always fun to kick off this season with a free broadcast here on Flo. Alongside Johnny Lazarus, Ezra Janello with you. Johnny, we went to break talking about the Blackhawks. Let's talk some Lumberjacks. The first guy on our list, Carter Sanderson. It's a home game for Carter, a draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's been here for about 2 weeks, taking part in their rookie showcase. He won't get the start tonight, but this is a guy that Lumberjacks fans are excited for.
And the Penguins brass is all here watching as well. You can see them right across the rink from us, but Carter Sanderson is a guy who's very in-your-face physical, and we know he's going to piss off some of the Waterloo Blackhawks tonight.
Drew Stewart leans in. Chase Jete across from him. We're underway. The 2025-26 campaign has begun. The Lumberjacks going right to left across your screens and radios. But here comes Drew Waterfield to the offensive end for Waterloo. Taken away by Chuck Blanchard. To the near side, Christ tapped ahead, but the first one on it, the defenseman Vikla. Behind his own cage near side. Off the wall, here's Ty Mason. Back to his own zone it goes. Vikla across the way. Waterfield now Jete. For Mason, near side of the blue line, fires on. Axelson 1-for-1 early in the game.
That's a perfect chance for Axelson to field the puck too. A shot from Ty Mason, not a high percentage shot. Just trying to test the goalie early on here in this game.
Good energy from Waterloo off the hop. They're back in the Muskegon zone. Here's Belusko behind his net. Structured breakout for the Lumberjacks. He's Lars Hudson near side. Ahead for Sanderson. Kept in by Reber, and Sanderson back to the near side corner of his own zone. Across for Belusko. Up the wall, cleared out by Niles Benson. Here comes Novotny. 2-on-1 rush. Novotny fires on, blockered out of play. The first save for Phileas Lashaw this afternoon brings our first stoppage of the game, 1 minute and 12 seconds into it.
It was an unfortunate bouncing puck for Ryan Whiterabbit on the blue line, but Melvin Novotny gets a wide open chance here on a 2-on-1. I love that he thinks shot first because sometimes players can tend to be a little bit unselfish and force a pass, but Novotny, the goal scorer that he is, the UMass commit and Buffalo Sabres draft pick, tries to put it low blocker side, but a great first save by Lashaw.
Rudy Burrs-Collins leans in, wins it back, but it pops to the near side. We're looking to clear it. The far side winger, Rio Taharn. Kept in the offensive zone by Burrs-Collins. Across the way, Waterloo makes their way into the neutral zone. Great check by Jake Stewart. That was the forward wearing 39, Toby Carlson, the Alaska native, on the receiving end.
They're going back at Stewart now after that big hit.
Physicality ramping up. Near side corner. Avery Laliberte looks to clear it, though it goes behind the net for Pelletieri. Ahead for Taharn. Now Chase Jete right back onto the ice, double shifting for the Hawks, while JSD, Jean-Samuel Daigneault, plays across the way for Bergeron. Now Zebedis. Here comes Barrett Dexheimer, 2-on-1 rush. Dexheimer fires low far pad. The rebound just out of the reach of Thomas Maroon. Back with Bergeron. Thomas Maroon looks to pop out in front. Bergeron the try. It goes just wide. Comes back out thanks to Gustas Zemedis. On the near side of the ice, it's Colin Emery who clears the zone with speed to the offensive end. Fires high and wide. All the way down the ice it goes.
Not really sensing any nerves from either side in this game so far in the first 2 minutes and change. I mean, 2 odd man rushes already for the Muskegon Lumberjacks. They got to find a way to bury one here.
JSD back to his own zone. Wraps it near side. Here's Jack Christ. Kept in by Emery and pushed down the wall. Christ finds a way to clear the zone. He's hot on the heels of White Rabbit. Kept in by Stewart. Down for Blanchard, but taken away by Emery. Tons of pace in the early stages. Belusko takes it away at the red line. Looks at the near side. Here's Jack Christ to the offensive zone. Belusko holds, fires on. It's caught up in traffic, but regained by Christ. Jack Christ in front. Stewart fires on. Great save made by Lashaw. Puck's loose. It goes behind the net. Christ looks to keep it in again, but it comes out to the neutral zone. Belusko starts the reload. D to D with Clares. Belusko again near side. To the center ice logo for Blanchard. Christ sends it in. Novotny gives chase. Near side, Novotny works on the forecheck, supported by Sanderson, but it's picked back up by Erickson. Deep to the Muskegon zone. Carl Axelson off for Barrett Dexheimer. Dex to the near side. Sanderson off for Dexheimer, flying through, falls down to the ice. Stepped on the puck, but Sanderson gets it deep. The near side corner. Joined by Novotny. He's across from Jimmy Reber. It's carried up the far side. Just past the Waterloo bench, regained by Niles Benson. Carried ahead by DeGraff to the offensive zone. He's stood up by Dexheimer. Behind the cage, 4 minutes and change gone here in the first. Fired on Axelson, forced to make a big save at the top of his crease. It was Schultz who fired the shot, but Axelson shutting down the captain of the Hawks.
Probably the best scoring chance or only scoring chance that Waterloo has had so far. Brock Schultz makes a great play below the goal line, wins that puck battle, then makes a nice move at the dot, gets into a prime scoring chance, but puts it right into the chest of Axelson. But what I'm loving so far, Ezra, from the Muskegon Lumberjacks is they're on the attack right away. The puck comes in the neutral zone, and they're going the other way. 3 grade A scoring chances already in the first 4.5 minutes of this game for Muskegon.
Shots are 5-1 in favor of the Jacks. 5-2, I think, would be more official. Axelson has a couple, but it comes to the near side for Jete. Down to the corner, wraps it around. Drabicki races for it, leaves off for Selski. Jete, though, pops out in front. Axelson forced to make a save in tight. Back behind the net, Jete knocked down by Lance. Lance played home games in this building as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins elite program back in the day. Far side, Liberté drops it down to the corner. It's held up on the wall. Far side half wall by Teharn. Back to the near side it comes for Carlson. Jake Stewart looks to clear it. Reber keeps it in. Stewart back to his feet. Taken back by Reber, forced out by Burzkals. A change on the fly for Waterloo while Selski gloves it down in the neutral zone.
Jake Stewart's really inserting himself physically into this game so far. A younger guy who Jim McGroarty loves, and he's showing it so far.
Back to the far side corner, popped out in front, tapped just wide by Emery. Near side now, Erickson stood up by Bergeron, played back towards the bumper position between the hash marks, but up to the blue line it goes. White Rabbit sends it down low. Looks to activate himself in the offensive zone, but retreats to the blue line while Emery goes across the way. 14-21 showing on the outer hung scoreboards. And now here come the Jacks again. Another 2-on-1 rush. It's Bergeron this time. Holds and fires. Blocker save. Knocked out of the air by Thomas Maroon. But the whistle's blown. It's a high sticking call against the Lumberjacks. The faceoff will come out of the zone.
3 2-on-1s already for Muskegon, and I think every shot, two of the 3 shots so far have gone blocker side. The Lumberjacks might need to start testing the glove of LaShaw because right now he's tracking the puck really well, but on that last 2-on-1, Ty Bergeron was looking for Thomas Maroon, tried to make the pass, I think, originally, and then realized he was stuck and had to shoot it, but I love what I'm seeing so far from Muskegon.
Very quick pace on both sides. Belusco sends it in. Far side wall. Blanchard looks to keep it in. Helped out by Stewart. That's Drew Stewart. Now Blanchard popped out in front for Christ. Great defensive play by Mason. Sniffed it out. Waterloo looks to go on to the attack. It's White Rabbit near side. Christ pushes him to the boards, and it's back up with Carlson. Now Mason for Waterfield across the way. Met by Blanchard and Clares in the corner. Stewart looks to clear it. He's forced back down to the corner, but now here he comes. He's tripped to the ice. And for the first time tonight, the Lumberjacks will go on the power play. Johnny, it's a great opportunity to meet the officiating crew as assigned by the United States Hockey League. Ryan Baker and Kevin McManus, the referees wearing orange bands. Ryan Devine and Aaron Mostrom, they work the lines. It's Vikla, 2-minute minor for tripping.
Kind of a soft trip because Drew Stewart lost his footing for just a second, but he went down enough for it to be a call. I actually had my hand up, but then Drew Stewart kept his balance and kept going, so I wasn't sure if they were going to call it. But a great opportunity here for Muskegon to get their first goal because they've had plenty of chances so far to get on the board.
The Lumberjacks on the advantage. They were good last year. They look to get off on the right foot here in the new campaign. Jake Stewart, he leans in for the draw. Across from Schultz. Turns into a battle for possession won by the Jacks. Here's Clares. Near side, Blanchard. Back to Clares. Now Blanchard near side. Down low, Sanderson. Holds and pops out in front. Loose puck in the blue paint. Swiped away by a white jersey. It's kept in by Sanderson. Across for Clares. Danny Clares, middle of the blue line, across to Stewart. Fired on in front. Great save made by LaShaw. It was a pass, not a shot, onto the stick of Novotny. Clares knocked down. Novotny to the corner, but it's picked up by a Hawk. That's Avery Liberte and sent down the ice.
Melvin Novotny had 2 prime chances right at the net mouth, but couldn't elevate the puck. LaShaw does a great job sprawling out to stretch himself.
Taken away, Waterfield in and out of the glove of Axelson. Niles Benson down for Chris, tapped to the net front, but again taken away. This time Chase Jete, the one who gets it down the ice.
Some good looks so far from Muskegon. They just haven't been able to elevate that puck. A costly turnover, though, on the last breakout. This same unit that's still out there has to figure out how to get set up because they're running out of time here on their first opportunity.
Drew Stewart sends it in. LaShaw gloves it down, leaves off in the corner for Cade Meyer. Ahead, a one-on-one opportunity. Here's LaFair, fired on. Big rebound, Emery the chance. Highway robbery by Carl Axelson with the glove. Some short-handed opportunities for the Hawks. Spurs Cons for Benson, fired on into the logo of LaShaw. We get some extracurricular activities. Benson going at it with one Hawk. Burrs Collins has 2 white jerseys in his hands, but still 26 seconds to go on the Muskegon power play.
Niles Benson was flying down the near side, but a heads-up play by Carl Axelson not to freeze the puck and have a defensive zone draw while his team's on the power play. He makes a play out to the wall, and Niles Benson gets that puck with speed through the neutral zone, but wasn't able to get it by LaShaw. LaShaw has been very strong so far in the first 8 minutes. I mean, he's seen 9 shots, it says on the board, but it's felt like 5 really strong scoring chances. And if you're Muskegon right now, you got to find a way to get one, because if you let this guy find more confidence throughout the game, Waterloo's probably going to break through and score the first goal.
Door's getting shut. Bergeron, he leaned in for it. He's replaced by Thomas Maroon. Near side of the Hawk zone, 26 seconds to go on the advantage. The tripping penalty to Vikla, where he awaits the opportunity to rejoin his teammates on the ice. Dexheimer gets it in the neutral zone. D to D with Lars Hudson. Now, you were talking to Cole Hudson earlier today, getting a scouting report on his youngest brother.
Very excited to see Lars Hudson play. Cole said he's a fast twitch player, kind of like Lane, where they don't necessarily have the best endurance, but when they get their chance, they make you pay for it with their quickness, agility, edges. Lars is going to be a guy who grows a lot this year, and it's cool to hear Cole say that he reminds him a lot like his brother Lane, who just won the Rookie of the Year.
Pretty decent hockey family. Rob, the dad, is in town here in Pittsburgh, catching the game with Steve Lowe and Jim McGrory just to our right. While Anthony Thomas Maroon, his dad's in town. Pat on the coaching staff. Anthony sends it in.
Anthony's had a couple of good shifts here to start his junior career as well. Had a chance on his first shift. That fourth line of Thomas Maroon, Bergeron, and Zemaitis are doing really well so far.
Here comes Jake Stewart. The Lumberjacks rookies, they led the offensive way in the preseason. Hudson and Thomas Maroon both finding the back of the net in the final week of the preseason. Here's Rudy Burscon. Shared a team lead in points with 3 in the preseason. Ahead he finds Drabicki. Popped off his stick behind the net. Jake Stewart, comes in to help out. Out for Burscon's fired on. A great block shot by Jete. It feels like Chase has been all over the ice. Defensive zone, offensive zone. He's finding a way to help his team.
And right now, Muskegon feels like they finally have control over this game. They're possessing the puck below the goal line. They're getting the puck to the point. They just got to find a way to bury one here.
A great step by JSD. Jake Stewart off for a change. Pass was behind him, so here's Ethan Drabicki in his own end. Just about halfway through this first period. 10 minutes to go. Novotny, he starts a breakout. Looking for Sanderson, though it's kept in. LaFair couldn't pull the trigger, so here's Novotny again. Up the far side, poked off his stick by Erickson. Good step by Reese Lance, and now here's Niles Benson. Centers for Sanderson, ahead for Novotny near side. Back to Sanderson, down to the corner. Behind the cage, a good reverse check by the South Dakota native. Near side corner, it's Pelletieri. Taken away by Benson. Loose puck in the slot, picked up by Novotny. Near side, Benson at the blue line. Cross ice dump in the feet of LaFair. So he picks up possession and looks out of the zone. Uses his feet to cross the blue line. At the red line, it's taken away by Clares. Novotny off for Belusko. Kosice, Slovakia native, sends it in. The Swiss-born netminder LaShaw leaves it off. Play continues. Ty Mason centers and gets it back at the red line, stepped up by Belusco. To the near side it comes. Wyatt Harris, future UMass Lowell hockey player, chases back to his own zone for it. Holds the near side corner, head up, sends it down the ice. Too high for Selski to glove it down, but icing, it's waved off. He'll win the race for it in the corner. Dexheimer behind the net, away from Waterfield. Selski, now Blanchard. Chips it to the neutral zone. Drew Stewart, the first one on it for the Jacks, but here's Vikla.
Keep your eye on Carter Sanderson. On his last shift on the forecheck, he got under the skin of Cade Meyer, and on his way back into his own zone, Meyer gave him a stick to the ribs, and those two might be going at it as this game continues.
Good physicality here early. They've given the fans something to watch and enjoy watching. While the Hawks fire in onto Axelson, he gloves it down and puts it in his back pocket. 8:09 to go in the first period. We get our first chance for a media timeout, but we don't take timeouts up here. We talk about what we're seeing, and Johnny, we're seeing a great, fast-paced, physical hockey game. It feels like fast and physical, the identity that every team looks to have, and both these teams are doing that early in the season.
If you watch the Dubuque versus Sioux City game before this, it's a little bit different because I think there was 5 goals already at this point of the first period, but it feels like this game between Muskegon and Waterloo has more prime grade A chances. Right now for Muskegon, they're getting the better looks, I think, on odd-man rushes, 2-on-1s. The way they attack in the neutral zone and regroup and get on the rush right away, Waterloo's chances have really come from mistakes that Muskegon has made. They've kind of shot themselves in their own foot in the D zone, and Waterloo is right there to try to counterattack. There was one chance on the power play for Muskegon that almost ended up in the back of their own net, but right now the Lumberjacks have full control of this game. The only way they're going to allow a goal is if they make the mistakes themselves. So if you are you are a Muskegon Lumberjacks fan right now, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourselves. The only thing that's costing them is that man on the left side of the screen, Phileas LaShaw.
LaShaw, he's looked good. Shots are 9-6 in favor of the Jacks. We don't take timeouts, but we do got to pay the bills. This Muskegon Lumberjacks broadcast is brought to you in part by Auto Owners Assurance. For over 100 years, Auto Owners has been dedicated to the independent agency system. Get local support from somebody you know. Whether it's home, auto, life, or business, ask your independent agent if Auto Owners Assurance makes sense for you. 8:09 to go in the first. Face off in the Lumberjack zone. Rudy Burzcons across from Chase Jete. There's been 12 minutes of game time. It feels like Jete has played at least 10 of them.
He's had a couple of chances himself, some shots from inside the blue line, some great plays in the D zone. You know, he's an experienced guy who right now is trying to calm his bench down.
Here comes Strabicki to the offensive zone. Curls away from the defender and gets it down for Burzcons in the corner. Rudy looks out for JSD. It's caught up in the feet of a Hawk. Picked back up by the Lumberjacks and Drabicki. Fired on, but blocked in traffic. That was Reese Lance. Pushed back out to the net front by Burzcons. Corralled by Jete and carried up the ice. 3-on-2 rush. Jete ahead for it to Hard. Met by Lance in the corner. Near side of the ice to Hard. Makes him miss. Looks out in front. Taken away by Burzcons. A guy the Penguins scouting department across the ice, they've got their eye on. Rudy Burzcons, a top prospect for the 2026 NHL draft this coming summer. Here's Novotny, property of the Buffalo Sabres, plays across, intended for Benson, tapped forward. Here comes Sanderson.
Sanderson and Meyer again going at it.
A bull in a China shot, Carter Sanderson, but it's Benson who lays a heavy check near side corner. 2 Hawks in the area. Novotny helping out his teammate on his knees, while Sanderson looks for it behind the net. It's taken away by a white jersey. That's the defenseman wearing the 2s on his back. Dylan Nolan. Icing called against the Hawks. The Lumberjacks look to take advantage of a tired unit across from them. They get some fresh legs onto the ice. It's Drew Stewart's unit with Christ and Blanchard.
Sorry, there is the top line, though, of Sanderson, Novotny, and Benson. It feels like they haven't played in the D zone at all. They've been on the attack the entire first period, keeping the puck below the goal line. Right now, they just got to find a way to get more bodies to the front of the net. Muskegon hasn't really been using their points as much as they'd like to. They need to get more shots from the blue line and get an ugly goal. The chances right now have been pretty, and they're making strong, cute plays. You got to get a little bit uglier.
It feels like the Lumberjacks, they're looking to expose that bumper area right in the middle of the slot. Hudson, though, he sends it behind the net. Far side corner, Chris pops out in front, fired on and shouldered away. LaShaw, 11 for 11 here in the first period.
Another blocker save too.
Drew Stewart sends it back in. Chuck Blanchard, heavy on the forecheck, taken away by Stewart, popped out in front between the legs of LaShaw in the blue paint. Here's Lars. Hudson carries near side, fires on in and out of the glove of LaShaw. And to your point, Johnny, you send one to the glove side, all of a sudden it's handcuffing the netminder a little bit.
LaShaw bobbled that one. We haven't seen him look uncomfortable in the net at all here in the first 14 minutes, but Lars Hudson, who almost turned the puck over at the blue line, DeGraff was right there, could have went the other way, found a way to get back onto his feet after falling, and you see the little Hudson shiftiness there on the blue line as he changes his angle and gets one on net. Just a simple, smart play from a young player.
You know, Rob is here. I wonder if I can ask him to teach me how to skate with no laces in my skates, something the Hudson brothers all have done growing up. It's a lot of hockey coming out of that living room. I wouldn't want to be Mrs. Hudson and have to fix all the holes in the walls.
That story was wild, that they learned how to skate with their skates untied to help their ankle strength. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Here's Ty Bergeron. You got to talk with Ty Bergeron in the offseason after the under-17 tournament. He was a standout there. You expect him to be a standout in the black and gold now.
Great kid, too. Great personality. He loves scoring goals on the PK, he said, which is very interesting. He had a beautiful one against Switzerland in that tournament where he got a breakaway and went top glove, but very excited to see his progression.
Here's Emery, defended well by Lance. Still an opportunity for Eriksson, shut down by Axelson. Up the far side, Gustas Zemaitis, feel-good story, made the team out of training camp as an undrafted free agent. He sends it deep, takes some time off the clock too, and gets some fresh legs on the ice. To the near side it comes for Carlson. Left off for Waterfield. Jerez couldn't corral it. Here comes Jake Stewart working 1-on-3. Knocked to his knees and played back the other way for Drabicki to receive. He sends it in. Carlson gives him the business in the meantime. And Jerez the first one on it behind the cage. Near side, Ty Mason. Poked away by Hudson. Regained by Waterfield. Short 2-on-1. Backdoor fired on. They score. It's Ty Mason. Gets the Hawks on the board with 4:36 to go in the first.
Lars Hudson actually made a great read to step up and break up that 2-on-2 rush, but then he bobbled the puck. The Waterloo Blackhawks go on the attack on a mini 2-on-1 below the tops of the circles, and Ty Mason wastes no time when that puck got on his stick to beat Axelson to the blocker side. It actually looked for a second like Axelson got a piece of it. It wasn't a clean shot, but that's what we were saying right now. Muskegon, if they're going to allow the first goal, it's going to be off their own mistake. They controlled this game, but in the D zone, they've been a little bit sloppy so far.
Here's to Harn and Sanderson with a couple of words for each other in the neutral zone. 1-0 Hawks. Ty Mason is first of the season. How do the Lumberjacks respond? Well, here they are in the offensive zone. Chase Jete with it again. Goes to his defenseman and now chases to the offensive zone. Swiped away by Belusco. Here's Niles Benson, 3-on-2. Ahead for Novotny. Force to the outside, fires out in front, no one home to receive the pass. Instead, here come the Hawks. Far side of the ice, it's Toby Carlson. He's knocked down by Danny Clares. And now here comes Carter Sanderson behind the defense, gloves it down. Sanderson fired on, blocker save, back out in front, they score! Oh, what a play, Carter Sanderson. It went off the backside of the netminder and trickled to the back of the net, and it's tied up at 1 apiece.
Niles Benson, the Harvard commit, gave Sanderson that little alley-oop from his own D-zone over 2 heads of the Waterloo Blackhawks, and Sanderson, like a wide receiver, knew exactly where that puck was coming right before he crossed the blue line. He misses the net on the breakaway, but it's actually a fortuitous bounce and banks it off a shot. What a beautiful goal. Not exactly how you draw it up, but Niles Benson, incredible pass.
He caught the deep pass. He got the touchdown. That's 6 fantasy points for Carter Sanderson here early, and Niles Benson, he's got a passer rating of perfect so far.
I also realized I combined two sports and said alley-oop and then a wide receiver, so we're making up our own rules.
Hey,
now.
it works.
What a play, though, by Niles Benson. That's why he's going to Harvard. He thinks differently than everybody else.
Niles Benson, acquired by the Lumberjacks this summer, played last year for the Green Bay Gamblers, someone that Steve Lowe, the Lumberjacks president, very, very excited for to have in the black and gold. Here comes Pelletieri back to the offensive zone for Waterloo. No, it's knocked to the near side corner by Lance. Across the way, fresh on, Cade Meyer wraps it down and around the wall. Lance behind the net near side. Heartland, Wisconsin native. Was playing for the Milwaukee Junior Admirals when he was drafted by Muskegon. Then came here to play the 23-24 season as a Penguins elite player. Was in the North American League to start the year last year. We all know he got called up and earned a full-time role halfway through the year in Muskegon. Daxheimer to the offensive zone with speed. Leaves off for Zemaitis. Up top to Daxheimer. His shot blocked by Eriksson, who's off to the races himself. Far side works on Selski. Poked out by the Lumberjacks, Minnesota-born defenseman. But it's back with Vikla in his own half of the ice.
Great wheels by Barrett Dexheimer, though, to take the puck in his own zone, wheel around the net, and turn into an offensive shift. The UMass commit showing the Jets there on the back end.
Zemaitis, far side, near side, Thomas Maroon. Cross ice dump, lets Bergeron give chase. The 2009 birth year out of Flat Rock, Michigan. Knocks down his counterpart and now battles for possession on the wall. It comes out to Jake Stewart. Off for Danny Clares, fired on, he couldn't pull the trigger. It was a great stick by White Rabbit to knock it away. Make that Harris, who now carries the offensive zone. Down to the near side corner where Lefebvre drops down to help out. Lefebvre across the way into the corner, met by Clares. Pinned against the wall, two other guys come in to assist. Bergeron has a hold of his counterpart, while Belusco plays it to the near side for Jake Stewart. High in the air, it's kept in but forced out. Reber across the way. Big hit by Danny Clares. He stepped up and knocked down Waterfield, the Yale commit that played last year in Madison. Now Stewart lays a boom on White Rabbit and Dexheimer back to receive it. We've gotten some goals. We've gotten some big hits, Johnny. This is everything a hockey fan wants and then some.
Danny Clares is a beast on the back end right now.
Jete fires. Shoulder save made by Carl Axelson. Now Sanderson off for Benson to the offensive zone. Knocked down by White Rabbit with a minute to go in the first period. Near side, looking to clear the zone. Lefebvre, he does so, finding Carlson.
It's good hockey right now. It's fun to watch.
Back to the offensive zone are the Hawks. It's to Hard, who's met by Sanderson. Middle of the Muskegon blue line. Benson knocked down his own guy. Back to his feet, Carter Sanderson. While Benson works with Dexheimer to win possession. 26 seconds to go in the period. Novotny ahead for Benson. Chip to the offensive zone. DeGraff, he picks it up. They slowed things down, and now here's Harris. Sends in, Axelson continues play for Dexheimer. Just 10 seconds to go. The Jacks time for one more rush, though it bounces over the stick of Benson, and it's back with Harris near side. Schultz ran into by Novotny. Just 1 second to go. And as the buzzer sounds, time expires, and we make our way to the first intermission. Johnny, 1-1 after one. Exciting game so far.
And Waterloo found their game in the second half of that first period. After that opening goal by Ty Mason, Waterloo, you felt like they were settling in a little bit, while Muskegon had full control, and you got to credit the Lumberjacks for that response. Carter Sanderson, the alley-oop pass from Niles Benson to even up this game at one as we head to the first intermission, when the Lumberjacks would have felt very bad about themselves if they were losing after that strong period that they just showed.
It felt like that power play for the Lumberjacks was more of an advantage for Waterloo. That was really the first taste of Waterloo Blackhawk hockey I think we saw. It was Vikla, a 2-minute minor for tripping at the 6:29 mark. The goals, they followed. Ty Mason, he struck first. A beautiful goal, a turnover in the Lumberjack zone. You got to capitalize on your opportunities in the USHL. He did exactly that for his first of the season. And then Carter Sanderson, the Pittsburgh Penguins draft pick. A beautiful pass from Niles Benson. Alley-oop, touchdown, whatever you want to say. It worked. It bounced off the back wall, back out in front, off of LaShot and to the back of the net. An exciting first period. Johnny, we're going to talk more about it when we come back. But for now, we're going to take a step aside and come right back here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Welcome back into FloHockey, the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces, alongside Johnny Lazarus, Ezra Janello with you. First intermission report, Johnny, it was a fun first period.
And both goalies had great showings, Ezra, in that first period. Carl Axelson wasn't tested a lot in the beginning. It was originally all Phileas Lashaw, but as the play continued, both goalies really showed their stuff. But great physicality, some hitting, some PKing for the Waterloo Blackhawks. They got 2 grade A scoring chances off their PK. Muskegon wasn't able to capitalize on their grade A chances. But overall, so far, a very entertaining 20 minutes.
A very busy week here at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex. Here on FloHockey, the Gamblers take on Omaha tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. An hour later, it's the Chicago Steel and the Sioux Falls Stampede. Then the nightcap tomorrow evening, the Lumberjacks take on the Sioux City Musketeers. The Dubuque Fighting Saints, they've got the Blackhawks. And Johnny, we were talking about the out-of-town scoreboard. Well, in-town scoreboard this week, I guess. Dubuque, a 10-2 win over top of Sioux City just earlier today.
Well, Dubuque was dominating that game from start to finish. They scored 4 goals, and I believe the first 12 minutes of that game, a lot of those plays, too, in the offensive zone below the goal line, just finding an open man in front. Barron had a great showing, the Arizona State commit. A lot of talent on that Dubuque team, and they really showed what they got so far this year, coming out hot out of the gate.
Kind of a tale of 2 different games. The early game, the first official game of the new season, Dubuque and Sioux City. It was 4-1 at the end of the first period. Lots of offense on one side of the ice, but here for the Lumberjacks and the Blackhawks, lots of offense, but great goaltending. 2 guys we talked about in the pregame, climbing the ladder of development, making their way. They started in the USHL, but they go to the NA. And a lot of guys would say, this is crazy, this is terrible, this isn't what I want. I want to play in the USHL. That's the best league. That's where I should be. But not every guy at that stage of their career should be in the USHL. They go down, they develop. They both had strong seasons in the North American League, and now they're showcasing how much development they went through last year now that they're back.
You also have to think about the maturity aspect of it off the ice, right? These are kids from Sweden and Switzerland. Axelson hailing from Sweden and Lashaw from Switzerland. You have to get acclimated with the American culture, and you're playing alongside North American guys who probably don't speak the language all that well when you first get here. So when things aren't going well for you on the ice, sometimes it takes a toll for you mentally off the ice. So for them to go down to the North American League, which is a great league, and find their game, find their confidence, and now come back up and show that in game 1 of the year, it's just going to make them progress further and further throughout this season.
And by the way, they went to the North American League. They went to 2 of the top organizations in terms of attendance in the North American League. They had USHL-esque atmospheres on Friday and Saturday nights, playing in Austin for Carl Axelson and Watertown for Phileas Lashaw. But they're here in the USHL. Axelson, a Lumberjack, Lashaw, Blackhawk. Great first period. Shots through that first frame, 11-5. It says on FloHockey it's really 13-9 in favor of the Lumberjacks. 12 saves for Lashaw, 8 saves for Axelson. We saw the physicality in front of them. Jake Stewart started off with a bit of a big hit. Sanderson got into it with his counterpart, a couple different guys in the white jerseys. Danny Clare stepped up and knocked someone down. It's really been physical hockey, fast-paced. That's exactly if you're a coach on game 1 where you're still kind of evaluating. You only get 4 games in the preseason. A lot of good signs on both sides of the ice.
Danny Clares is one that stood out to me defensively. I mean, he's a returner. He's a guy who has to have a big year. The Notre Dame commit after being here last year. He's still young, though. I believe only 18 years old. So it's not like he's this physically mature veteran. He still has a lot of growing, but he had one shift where he separated 3 guys from the puck, and then before he got off on the bench, absolutely annihilated one of the Waterloo Blackhawks. So great to see a guy like him, a reliable defenseman playing with a brand new D partner, stepping up and taking care of the defensive side of the puck.
And it's the NHL draft. There's a misconception that last year was the 07s getting drafted, their first year of draft eligibility. If you don't get drafted in that first year, you can still be drafted. So when you're a guy like Danny Clares, he's going to go play hockey in the Big Ten. He's going to be a big standout defenseman for the Irish at Notre Dame. There's nothing saying that as an 07 defenseman, you're still impressing the NHL scouts here in attendance. Teams will take those overage guys. We saw, I think, Riker Lee, who was a 2006 birth year, goes in the first round of the NHL draft as an overager, as 2006 birth year last summer. So it happens, and Danny Claire's a strong performance in that first period. We'll see if he can back it up in the next period and change for the rest of the week.
It's funny that you bring that up, though, Ezra, and am I allowed to make a shameless plug right now?
You can, 100%.
It relates very well, actually.
Yeah.
Colby Cohen and I interviewed Joey DeCourt, former Muskegon Lumberjack, on our show this week, and he said, he made a joke, I tell people I got drafted in the 14th round because he didn't go his first year, and he went in the 7th round of his second year of eligibility. So Joey DeCourt is the prime example of a guy who might not get drafted in their first year, but you come back, you play strong in the USHL for an organization like the Muskegon Lumberjacks, and who knows, you get drafted late in the 7th round and find your way to becoming an NHL starting goaltender. So Joey DeCourt is the prime example of that.
We love J-Dak in Muskegon.
Beauty.
He does his Formula One updates on Twitter. We love seeing it. Sammy Doyon-Canaquiz, who we might see tomorrow, we were talking to him in an interview this week, and they said, what goalie do you think has the best sty in the NHL? And he goes, oh, Joey DeCourt. And I'm in the background. I'm not the one doing the interview, and I've got a big smile on my face.
Jumped right up.
And he goes, why are you giggling? I was like, do you know where Joey Dak played his junior hockey? Right here in Muskegon. So he was pretty pumped. He likes Joey DeCourt. We like Joey DeCourt. You like Joey DeCourt.
Love Joey DeCourt.
And you spoke to him on what's your podcast?
Morning Cup of Hockey. And he was actually saying, it was funny, I spoke to Anthony Delgaizo, former Muskegon Lumberjack, and asked him to tell a story about Joey DeCourt. And he said, that guy was driving a Jeep Wrangler in junior hockey. He just always has loved cars, and now people are starting to find out his obsession with F1. But it's funny that you mentioned that because, driving a Jeep Wrangler in junior hockey is pretty cool.
We've got a couple nice cars in Muskegon, that's for sure. Nice cars, they only come when you score goals. Lumberjacks, they need those. 1-1 after 1. 4 minutes and change till we get started for the second. Johnny and I will take a step back. When we come back, it's the second period here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Welcome back into FloHockey, Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Lakeside Surfaces, a great partner of the Muskegon Lumberjacks, Matt Niger. He's the president of Lakeside. I got to go on a tour last week. I went over, we brought the Clark Cup, pretty much our last trip with the Cup. He gave me a tour of the facility. Right there on the lakeshore, they do countertops all over the world. They've got the white countertops. Johnny, if you go into a Starbucks, the Starbucks here in Pittsburgh, you go in, it's got a white countertop. That came from Muskegon, Michigan. They did Augusta National. They've done some projects in D.C. They've got some projects, some suites at Lambeau Field. We've got them right here in the Muskegon Lumberjacks family. Lakeside Surfaces, great partners of the Muskegon Lumberjacks. And I've got to thank that Matt and his son Jace, who shovels the snow in between the media timeouts at Lumberjacks games. They've got to be happy with what they saw in that first period.
That first period, if you look at the scoreboard and see 1-1, you'd be a little bit confused because it could have been 3-0 after the first 5 minutes. We counted 3 2-on-1s in the first, like I said, first few minutes of that game. But the blocker side of LaShaw has been very strong so far. And the one goal they got, granted it was technically to the blocker side, but it banked off the backside of the wall. I think right now Muskegon is probably telling themselves in the locker room, hey, boys, let's test the blocker. Lars Hudson got one through. LaShaw bobbled it. Or let's test the glove. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't believe you didn't correct me there. I was just messing. But, yeah, test the glove a little bit. And you never know what can happen with the rebounds because right now the blocker side's been so strong.
And, realistically, both goalies are perfect, right? Like, LaShaw has faced 13 shots. He's made 13 saves. It just trickled past him. Carl Axelson made 8.5 saves in that first period. I was joking with Dawson Savchenko, our goaltending coach in Muskegon. When I played in the EHL, our coach said to us, he said, if that puck touches your stick when you're receiving a pass, you better catch that pass. There's no excuse. So I said to Dawson, that puck touches your arm as a goalie, you better make that save. But that's just not always how it works. And it's a tough job. It's a lonely job at times when you let one in and one that you thought you should have had. Both these goalies, they've been standing on their heads.
They've responded very well to goals that they probably wish they had. Axelson got a piece of that Mason shot, and like you just mentioned, Sanderson shot missed the net, but it took a weird bounce. But we'll see what happens here in the second period. Crazy start off the faceoff.
Drew Stewart loses his bucket. He's got to get off for a change. He's replaced by Novotny, who joins the rush near side. Off for Blanchard. Chuck Blanchard, West Hartford, Connecticut native, works on Vikla in the corner near side. It's behind the net and played around. The first one on it, the player wearing 15, Wyatt Harris. Back in the neutral zone. Delayed offside against the Hawks. Danny Clares up for Christ. Icing waved off. Chase Jete, the first one on it. Looks to clear the zone. Blanchard keeps it down low. Vikla near side. Novotny on his heels. He curls back and now fires ahead for Jete. Chase Jete to the offensive zone. Poked away by Dexheimer. Below the goal line, here's Niles Benson. Had the assist on Sanderson's goal. White Rabbit, his shot blocked by Novotny. Kept it in, though. Second chance opportunity blocked in traffic as well. Here's Melvin Novotny. Stockholm, Sweden born. Drafted by Buffalo. He'll play his college hockey at UMass. Now Benson to the offensive zone. He's out of Florida. Not as far away from Sweden, or as Sweden, but still a hop, skip, and a jump away from Muskegon. Reese Lance, the offensive zone near side. Drops off for Burrs Collins, but Nolan takes it away. Numbers in favor of the Hawks, though the pass didn't quite go the way they were looking for. Owen DeGraff, the future Penn State Nittany Lion, forced to just send it in. Lance near side, sent back by Schultz. Jean-Samuel Daillon to the near side. It's picked back up by the Hawks and Lefebvre. From the middle of the slot, his shot blocked by his own guy, Emery. Here's Rudy Burzcons, far side corner. Rudy up the wall, looks for Jake Stewart and has him, but it's kept in at the blue line by Lefebvre. Erickson fires a bouncing puck wide to the blocker's side of Axelson. Burzcons now. Helped out by Lance, but picked up by Emery. Up the wall, here's Lefebvre. Carries towards the blue line. Valiberte drops down the slot. Fired on. Axelson the save. Our first stoppage of this second period comes 2:25 into it. It's been all Waterloo to start the period.
I was just going to say the same thing. As for a great start by the Waterloo Blackhawks. This is what they looked like last year. They got the puck deep past their opponent's defenseman, and they got to work on the forecheck. They got the puck from low to high. Lefebvre had a couple of great chances there walking up that near side wall. He makes a great pass to the point. They get a shot on net. Axelson does a great job at swallowing the puck up so there's no rebounds. But this is exactly the start you want to a second period if it's the Waterloo Blackhawks.
Face off far side. It's Jete across from the youngster, Ty Bergeron. Won back by the Lumberjacks centerman. And now Ty goes near side for Clares. caught up by a Blackhawk. That's the player wearing 16, Rio Teharn. He's on his knees. The puck goes the other way with Gustas Zemaitis. An Illinois native, Zemaitis, met by Jete in the neutral zone.
Danny Clares has been so impressive so far in this game. He's broken up so many plays in the D zone.
He's asked to do it again. He possesses in his own end. Clares, D-to-D with Belusco. He gets it back near side. Now he'll lead a rush. Looking for Zemaitis, who sends it in. Cade Meyer had other ideas, but here's Jerez in his own end. To the near side. Looks for Carlson and has him. Picked back up by Clares. D-to-D, here's Dexheimer. Barrett Dexheimer played at Edina in Minnesota high school hockey. He and Clares very close to each other off the ice. Couple Minnesota guys. Dexheimer down to the near side corner. Carries up the wall. Finds Drew Stewart. His shot redirected but blocked in traffic. Now Lars Hudson to the near side. Finds a way to get it to Stewart. Into the corner and behind the net. Stewart popped out. Chris the chance. A beautiful save by LaShaw working off his post. No rebound to be had either.
And that's a spot that Jack Chris has scored from before. He had a beauty in the preseason, which was shown on that FloHockey behind the scenes little show. He went far side to the glove side in that preseason game. Great play by Drew Stewart to get the puck, go from west to east or east to west, however you want to put it, and find Chris in that soft area. Chris just didn't put it where he wanted. I think he was trying to go glove side, but it goes right into the middle of that net. Drew Stewart, a good response after being cross-checked in the face off that opening faceoff. So good to see him back out there on the ice and doing fine.
He's not a big guy. Drew Stewart, 5'8", 175 out of Minnetonka. Played at Benilde St. Margaret in his high school hockey playing days. Jumped to the USHL with Cedar Rapids, now in his second season with the Lumberjacks. Carter Sanderson looks for his second, but his shot was blocked by Drew Waterfield, now icing the call against Waterloo.
I think Waterloo might have picked up on what you said in the first period, as where they're getting tighter in the bumper area because Sanderson had a prime scoring chance if that puck landed on his blade. They've had like 3 or 4 of those looks where they find that seam. Jack Chris wasn't necessarily in the bumper on the last shift, but Muskegon's doing a great job at finding those soft areas, but now Waterloo's starting to take that away.
Dominate the middle of the ice. That's Steve Lowe's mantra. Lumberjacks president, while Waterfield leaves off for his defenseman Carlson. They're held up at the blue line. Here comes Niles Benson. Off for Sanderson, looks to get it back. It was defended well, though, and back the other way come the Hawks. Waterfield met by Clares, now Belusco behind the net for Novotny. Taken away by Waterfield, intercepted by Sanderson, and off the glass, down the ice it goes. Icing's waved off. Vikla has Benson on his heels. D to Lalibert. Up the middle of the ice, he escapes. And now here's Carlson wrapping it in. Shots are 13-10. The Lumberjacks, they haven't been credited with a shot just yet in the second period. We know that Christ has one, but the Hawks, they've had the momentum, that's for sure. Near side corner, Burrs Collins bangs a body, wins possession for a moment, has to get it back in the corner and does. To the far side he goes, off the glass. Good keep at the blue line by Waterloo and the defenseman Jimmy Reiber. Back to Schultz, near side corner. Harassed by Lance, it comes up to Erickson. Turns and fires from distance. Caught in the midsection by Axelson. He holds on.
Really strong play by Brock Schultz, the captain, one of the captains of this Waterloo Blackhawks team. He's not necessarily one of the biggest guys, another 5'8" player, but he's tough as nails, getting into the corner and winning a 50-50 battle to find Victor Erickson in that high slot area for the shot. But right now, Victor Erickson, while Victor Erickson took that shot, it was Axelson. That could be a little bit confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Making the save. Axelson hasn't allowed many rebounds so far tonight.
Couple Swedish-born players here in the USHL. Victor Eriksson, uncommitted out of Galway, Sweden. 2005 birth year, 5'10", 183. He's looked impressive today. I'm sure there's lots of college scouts circling his name. Carl Axelson, 6'4", 183. Out of Dandard, Sweden. Committed to UMD. He'll be a Bulldog. Join Jake Toll. Shot gets blocked in the bumper position. Low slot. It remains a battle for possession. Won by Erickson and carried outside. But now here's Jake Stewart. Ahead for Burrs Collins. 3-on-2 in favor of the Jacks. Rudy makes a guy look dumb. He plays out in front. That was rude. That was
That
not
was sick,
nice
though.
of me.
But that was sick.
It was a nice. I think my call was not as rude as Rudy's move. Puck goes out of play.
At least you caught yourself.
Yeah.
But that was a little like NHL Xbox move right there by Burst Collins on that left side. The big, strong lefty trying to generate something on a 3-on-2 rush under the triangle of the defenseman's stick inside out. Couldn't get that pass through on the far side, but very pretty play.
5:46 gone here in the second. Lumberjacks feels like their second total offensive zone draw this period. They trust the young guy, Ty Bergeron, to take it, but he's excused out. So Gustas Zemaitis, you go from young to a bit older. Zemaitis, a 2006 birth year out of Barrington, Illinois. Also played last year in the North American League in Aberdeen. One to Thomas Maroon. Couldn't pull the trigger, but continues to battle for it. Here's Zemaitis. Near side, Clares. Walks down low, fired on. Thomas Maroon looking for the redirection. It wouldn't go.
Clares had Thomas Maroon just a second earlier, as Thomas Maroon is introducing himself to the USHL right now in a little scuffle. But this D pair of Belushko and Clares seems like they've been out there the entire game. They're constantly making plays, keeping the puck out of their own zone. On that last sequence, though, Thomas Maroon was parked right in front of the net, stick on the ice, ready for a pass. Clares just saw him a second too late and couldn't really get it to him cleanly.
You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's the saying. Well, when the tree is named the Big Rig, I don't know that I'd want to grab a hold of his son.
No, definitely not. I've seen some highlights of Thomas Maroon on TikTok, actually, believe it or not, when he played for the Long Island Gulls last year. And he threw some big hits in 16U, and he's trying to do the same thing here in his first junior game.
Here's Carlson to clear it. Zemaitis keeps it in, walks down the slot, and fires. A good block by Carlson. Got it with the stick. Thomas Maroon chases to the near side. He meets the defenseman Wyatt Harris, and again, back out in front. Thomas Maroon, a chance. It went just wide. A little bit of physicality mixed in with skill. That's Anthony's game. He's showcasing it today. Thomas Maroon, far side wall, cycles off for Zemaitis. Gustas to the near side. Danny Clare steps into a slap shot. Redirection out in front. It's cleared away by a Hawk, but not out of danger. Belushko's chance. Caught up by Bergeron. And now Vikla chips it high in the air. Belushko gloves it down. To the near side, Jack Christ onside. Christ fires on. Turned aside and caught the mask of LaShot. And now here's Drew Stewart. He throws out in front. It comes up to Lance, who keeps it in.
The Jacks have awoken here in the second period. It's been all Muskegon here in the last 3 to 5 minutes.
Christ bangs a body on Chase Jete. Puck comes to Blanchard. Popped out in front looking for Stewart. Instead, all the way back to the Muskegon zone. A much-needed line change for the Hawks. But here comes Blanchard. 3-on-1. Stewart across. Blanchard. Oh, what a save made by LaShot. He had no opportunity. It was a 0.5% chance to make it, and he does. But it's not quite out of danger. Here's Christ. Off for Dino. Fired on. Redirected by Blanchard. Now Lance in the corner. Works up the wall. Finds JSD. Poked off his stick and down the ice it goes. It's a race for possession won by Waterfield.
A lot of scouts are writing down LaShaw's name after that save.
He had 3 Lumberjacks. It went east, and back to west before the shot was taken. And somehow he tracked all of it. He used every inch of his very tall 6'3" frame. Here's Chuck Blanchard to the offensive zone. End of a shift for him, but he gets it deep. Gets off for a change. Carlson has Sanderson on him. Leaves off for a teammate. Smart move. Benson throws a check. Dexheimer gives chase back to his own zone. Here's Niles Benson, Tampa, Florida native. Moved to Buffalo, New York at a young age. Dad said he wanted to give Niles some more opportunity to play high-level hockey, and it's worked out for the family so far. He's got a scholarship to play Division I college hockey. Far side, Emery. Walks towards the middle of the ice, back to the far side, and fires. It's loose in the corner. Picked up by a Hawk. Erickson up to the blue line. Cade Meyer walks and fires wide of the cage, and now here's Benson. Poked off his stick. He gets it back and looks for Novotny. Lalibert across the way for Erickson. Catches it in stride and leaves off for a teammate to Harn. Back down low, Emery popped out in front. A sea of black jerseys shut it down. Cade Meyer, his shot redirected off the stick of Jake Stewart, but wide to the near side corner. Shots are 18-12 in favor of the Lumberjacks. The Hawks have regained the momentum they started the period with. They set up a neutral zone regroup. Emery goes to the offensive end, but offside. Talharn was knocked down behind the play.
A couple of strong back-to-back shifts there by the Waterloo Blackhawks. Cade Meyer with 2 prime chances from the point to get a shot through, but it was blocked both times. The Muskegon Lumberjacks wingers doing a great job when they're out of position, getting back into that shooting lane so the shots from the point don't get through. But Ezra, I think it's fair to say right now, as we're 30 seconds away from being halfway through this contest, to call it a goalie battle, because Axelson on our left side for Muskegon has been stellar the entire night. Granted, there hasn't been as many grade A chances for Waterloo, but on the other end, Phileas Lashaw, I mean, down low, this guy is unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
Muskegon hasn't been able to elevate the puck. You think about the chances they've had, every save has been right leg, left leg, not as much glove blocker. So the Lumberjacks, they got to tell each other on the bench, boys, we got to find a way to shoot the puck high, because we're not going to beat him 5-0. We're not going to beat him down low. He's too athletic and too big.
He's an athletic goalie for sure. We're in our media timeout. It gives us a chance to look at the USHL standings. They're brought to you by Gilo, Groom, Terpstra, and McAvoy. GGTM is a unique law firm that concentrates its practice on the representation of businesses, business owners, and entrepreneurs. Well, as of this very moment, Dubuque, they are in first place. They are the favorites to win the Anderson Cup. The only issue is there's 61 more games for them, and everybody else has 62. They picked up a 10-2 win earlier today over Sioux City, who the Lumberjacks will see tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
It's going to be tough to beat their goals per game, though.
Yeah.
That rating should stay high throughout the entire season when you start out like that.
Very high offensive output team throughout the history of their organization. They showed that this year is no different. Chipped into the Waterloo zone by Drabicki. He gives chase to the near side, but it's Ryan Whiterabbit, the Augustana commit, who chips it back down the ice to the Muskegon zone. Danny Clare is off the wall. Picked back up by Waterloo's Pelletieri and played to the near side. Here's Belusco. Off for Stewart. It's an offside called against Waterloo.
Been a quieter period for Jake Stewart, who had a really strong first period of this game. Would love to see him get himself back in the mix. That second line of Bruce Collins, Drabicki, and Stewart were really strong offensively. They had that great 3-on-2 chance before where Bruce Collins made that little inside-out move, but they haven't been as loud in this period as they were in the first.
Stewart played in just one preseason game, the first preseason game. Bruce Collins and Drabicki each played in all 4 of them. Here's Dexheimer. Bruce Collins had 3 points in those 4 games. Here's Lars Hudson. He found the back of the net. Ahead for Anthony Thomas Maroon. He sends it in. Behind the net, Zemaitis looks to bang a body and does. He wins possession to Bergeron. Up to the blue line, here's Hudson. Fakes the shot, back down to Bergeron. He goes with it. Reber, poked away by Zemaitis, turns into a battle, and it's carried out by Lalibert, future Northern Michigan men's hockey player. Here's Zemaitis, near side, holds, fires, rebound loose, comes up to Hudson. He couldn't pull the trigger. Numbers in favor of Waterloo. It's Ty Mason with Zemaitis on the back check.
Great back check by Zemaitis, because that would have been a clear-cut 2-on-1 for Waterloo after Zemaitis had a 2-on-1 himself in the offensive zone and couldn't bury it. Shot low again, yeah. Jinx.
Near side into the Muskegon zone. Carlson sends it. They say he didn't get a piece of it. Icing called against the Lumberjacks. You know, it's funny. I normally give this spiel when we're talking about officiating and maybe a missed call. We got a great sight line up here, but new coaching staffs on both sides. Head coach Colton St. Clair, he talks to his team, and we're going to know what he's saying. He's mic'd up right now. FloHockey has cameras on the bench. They're talking not with Colton right now, but they're hearing what he's saying, and we're going to get to hear that with the next part 2 of our All Access with FloHockey.
One thing that I love that Coach St. Clair said too in the first episode was that the way you play also matters with the timing of the game. If you're up 3-1,
yes,
you got to make smarter decisions at the blue line. He wants you to show some skill and take chances, but know the time management of a game. And right now, 1-1, 8 minutes left in the second, I think it's kind of a free-for-all as far as taking chances goes. They got to find a way to score some goals.
Big hit by Drew Stewart. Here comes Belusco leading the rush. Fired on. It trickles just wide. Might have gone off the pad of Lashaw.
Refs are letting the boys play, huh?
it feels like we're just in Game 6 of the Clark Cup Final.
The only call has been like a light trip.
Yeah. Near side, Chris down for Blanchard. Popped out in front. Stewart, a pretty save again by LaShaw. Now Blanchard, far side corner, protects the puck and works down low. Pops out in front. His chance off the chest of LaShaw. And he holds on to the rebound as well. Phileas LaShaw, if you didn't know his name, now you do. This guy has been lights out. 20 shots for the Lumberjacks, 19 saves for the Swiss-born netminder. Whoever
LaShaw's agent is going to have a lot of conversations coming up after this game, because what a performance this kid is putting on out of Switzerland. You know, again, we talked about him 3 games last year with Waterloo, then he plays the rest of the year in the North American League. He looks like he has grown a lot over the year, and he looks comfortable in that blue paint and white right now.
It's the 6 Sports Leadership, if anybody is curious. There's tons of scouts here. I'm sure there are some scouts watching back home. And
find an email.
Yeah, they're all emailing before the end of this game for sure. Here's Jake Stewart, far side. Drops behind the net, taken away by Emery. He carries ahead. Looking to clear the zone. He does so by firing a pass ahead, but it's taken away by Reese Lance. Now Burzkons centers for Drabicki. Bouncing puck. Good play by Lalibert to shut it down. Here's Emery once more. Leaves off for his partner. That's Jerez. Now Emery to the offensive zone. Works on Lance. Fires on. Right at the top of the crease, Carl Axelson. Makes it look so easy. LaShaw has looked good. I'm sure Dawson Savchenko is saying, geez, this guy's doing something right. Carl Axelson, he's looked just as good. The opportunities and the grades for them, I'd say the Lumberjacks have had all the grade A's, all but a few. A couple B-plus opportunities for Waterloo that Axelson's had the answer for.
Agreed, and I will say in the second period, Colin Emery, the third-line center for Waterloo, has had a couple of great shifts where he's carried the puck over the blue line rather than dumping it and chasing it. He's made some really strong plays. Smart play in that scenario to just test the goalie with a shot, because it's been quite a few minutes since Waterloo's had a good scoring chance or a good shot on goal.
End of the shift. Just get it on net, get an offensive zone face-off, and go from there. Lars Hudson clears the zone all the way down the ice it goes. Icing waved off. They say it went off of Pelletieri, who receives it in the corner. Now Novotny off for Benson. To the blue line for Hudson. Near side, Dexheimer. Now Sanderson. His shot goes just wide. Hudson picks it up on the wall. Up top, Novotny. He works down. Cuts to the middle. On his forehand. Fired on wide of the cage. He was looking for the glove. Back to Novotny. Up top, Sanderson. Centers, Dexheimer. Carries across the way. Barrett Dexheimer protects the puck to the near side.
Wow.
Down across the blue line, down the wall, and behind the net he goes, still with it. Takes a check from behind, arm the official in the air. The Lumberjacks are going on the power play. Barrett Dexheimer puts an end to a great shift by sending Ryan Whiterabbit to the box.
Dexheimer was dancing on the blue line. It looked like that puck was going to come out 2 or 3 times. He's shown his strength in his lower body a lot throughout this night, but the way he protected the puck from blue line down to the goal line was beyond impressive, and now he might have his team on a 5-minute power play, because that hit from Ryan Whiterabbit looked pretty dangerous right in the numbers. So the officials are talking, but it looks like it just maybe a 2-minute.
2-minute minor. Hey, this is Game 6 of the Clark Cup Final.
Yeah.
You won't call it a 5-minute major then. And I got to be honest, I've been impressed. You let the fellas play, you let them get creative and showcase the competitive juices in front of all the scouts. And just for the Lumberjacks, it results in their second power play of the game. They're 0 for 1 so far. Drew Stewart, he leans in near side. It's Stewart's unit with Christ alongside Burzkons, Benson, and Belusco.
This unit struggled on their first opportunity, but that other unit with Melvin Novotny in front of the net, look out for him at the top of that blue paint, because I have a feeling he might find a greasy one.
This is Casey Mignon, associate coach, comes to Muskegon from Alaska Fairbanks in the NCAA Division I ranks. Here's Burzkons, the offensive zone. Rudy pushes down low. Jack Christ behind the net. Near side half wall. Up top, Belusco had 3 goals in the preseason. Near side, Stewart finds Benson. Benson fires, shouldered away. Belusco gets it back. Great play to find Stewart. He walks down the wall. Now Rudy Burzkons. Benson drops down, gets the pass near side. A good block shot, though, by Reber. Stewart, a one-timer, shouldered away by LaShaw. Halfway through the advantage, here's Benson. Looks back door. Stewart, the chance. He couldn't find the target. It trickled through the blue paint. Belusco keeps it in. They can't buy one. Here's Stewart. To the near side, Benson uses the defenseman as a screen, but LaShaw, no shocker there, makes the save and holds on.
Benson just gave Stewart a wide open cage. He waited for 1 second, but I don't know what that hit. Drew Stewart on the left side of your screen is going to creep in and have that wide open cage. It looks like it might have hit the stick of a defenseman. I'm confused how that did not find the back of the net, because Drew Stewart had all the time in the world to put that one in.
I think we have behind the net cameras on this broadcast. It's a 4-camera production here by FloHockey. Jack's still on the advantage for another 42 seconds. Here's Novotny, far side circle, curls up the wall. Novotny to the near side, Jake Stewart couldn't get it to go. Instead, it's cleared out of the zone by the player wearing 26, Drew Waterfield, the former Capital. Now Novotny. Across the way, Sanderson steps in and fires. Rebound. Corralled by Novotny again. Up top, Jake Stewart. Melvin Novotny. Far side half wall. Slows things down. Up top, declares. Near side, Jake Stewart. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Here's Sanderson. Works up. Across the way, Novotny holds, clears now. Stewart caught it on his backhand. That does it for the power play. Now clears a one-timer into the glove of a shot. He holds on. Someone goes after Jake Stewart, so Sanderson comes in to help out. He's got a hold of White Rabbit while a Lumberjack is knocked down on the far side.
They just swarmed Jake Stewart. Just standing in the blue paint, didn't even do anything. All the Waterloo Blackhawks just came and attacked him. You got to respect that. They're protecting their goalie, and what a strong penalty kill by this Waterloo team, too. Outside of that Drew Stewart chance, not many opportunities for Muskegon.
Not too many. We've got Speedio on our end. I got to go back just a couple more seconds here. We can see what happened that Stewart didn't find the back of the net. It was a great opportunity on the advantage, but now we're back at even strength with 4:27 to go in the period.
Incredible play off the wall by Niles Benson. He's been super impressive so far tonight.
Face-off won by the Hawks. Here's LaFair near side, and down the ice it goes. Barrett Dexheimer, the first one on it. Near side works up the wall, off the glass, down the ice. Pelletieri, first one on it, middle of his own zone. Quickly up, finds the stick of Erickson. Dexheimer, he picked up possession. Arm the official stays down. They're letting him play.
Can't call it right after another one.
Zemaitis off for Dexheimer, near side Selski. Gains the red line and chips it in. But what's nice about it is it's a two-man crew, or a four-man crew. Two orange band men who call the penalties. If you're on the back as the referee, you don't have to worry about it. You know your buddy's got a better sight line than you. Far side corner, Selski knocks down his counterpart, Colin Emery. Emery, the uncommitted forward out of Reading, Massachusetts. He works up the wall, centers out in front. Erickson couldn't pull the trigger. Here come the Lumberjacks. Lance near side, Zemaitis joins the rush. Lance down to the corner, still battles for it across from a Hawk. It's LaFair who comes away with it with 3:13 to go in the frame. Here's Schultz. Jake Stewart now. Leaves off for Reese Lance. Across the way, JSD, a nice move, escapes up the wall, gains the red line, and goes ahead for Burzkons.
Incredible poise there on the back end by JSD. You say his name so beautifully, I don't know if I can do it justice.
Yeah, Jean-Samuel Dino. Not quite. It's beautiful for an American accent. He says it perfect. I got to get a little button where every time he's got the puck, I can just have him say his own name.
That'd be good. I think you got it down now.
I do. I got it a little bit. I go home and practice at night.
Sounds good.
Belusco centers. Here comes Stewart. The offensive zone across the way. Burzkons look to make the extra pass, but no one was home to receive it.
Got to put that on net. What a pass by Jake Stewart.
Instead, here comes Vikla to the offensive zone. Poked off of his stick. To Harn, sends it in, and Waterloo starts a change. Another Lumberjack had lost their helmet behind the net while play continues up the near side. Across the way, here's Stewart to the offensive zone. Drew Knocked down to the ice. That was Jimmy Reber, the future Miami Redhawk. He'll play in the NCHC. Drew Stewart back to his feet. Takes away possession to the near side. Drops off for Christ. Jack Christ up top. Lars Hudson across the way. The corner. Reber Blanchard come together. Here's Jack Christ. Thrown out in front for Stewart. Comes up to Hudson. Works down the wall. Plays off the back wall. And it's wrapped around for Dexheimer to keep it in. Down for Christ. Popped out in front. LaShaw holds on. And now we get going again.
I got to say, Ezra, Drew Stewart at 5'8" does not back down from anyone. On the far side before, we're going to talk about his scoring chance in a second, but on the far side, he was in the corner, getting cross-checked in the back, puck underneath him. He finds a way to get up with the puck and then attack the net, and now gets a scoring chance and gets beat up again. This guy is relentless.
And the Jacks are going to the power play, it looks like. It's Avery Lalibert, the Manitoba native, future Northern Michigan commit. He goes to the box, and there's Drew Stewart. So we'll be evened up. We'll see if it's 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. We were just talking Drew Stewart. We've got it pulled up here. If this is a save for LaShaw, it went off of the defenseman in front, it looks like, and through the blue paint. It was underneath LaShaw for a moment.
Definitely hits the shaft of the PKer, though.
And to the corner it goes. Well, we get 4-on-4 hockey. We've gotten tons of speed and physicality. Now they've got some open ice to work with for the next 2 minutes. It's coincidentals Drew Stewart and Avery Lalibert.
I will say Drew Stewart, though, after watching him play tonight, he's a Dartmouth commit. Coach Cashman has done a great job with that program. I've watched him a couple times doing Princeton games, and he is a perfect ECAC type of player. Just get your nose dirty, grit, grind, and have a little bit of skill as well. I've been very impressed with number 10 in black today.
Here's Danny Clares off for Belusco. Works down the slot, fires on. Another blocker save. Now Belusco knocked down hard. Play continues. He's back up to his feet.
Oh my God, that was a crazy hit.
It was huge.
How he got right up.
He's a bulldog.
He's hurting, though.
Heading back to the bench. He'll talk with Lumberjacks trainer Callie Sitter. Here's White Rabbit. To the offensive zone, far side, curls up, finds Schultz in the slot. Just 60 seconds to go in the period. Lance wins possession. He finds Clares, and now ahead. Here comes Lance to the offensive zone. He leaves off for Novotny to chase. Far side, it's Ryan White Rabbit. 43 ticks to go in the period. Now here's Nolan to the offensive zone. Fired on. Nice glove save by Axelson.
Axelson has not been tested at all, it seems like, in the last 10 minutes of this period. But if you're just tuning in at home, it might look like a boring game at 1-1, but let me tell you, this has been a very, very exciting hockey game here in Pittsburgh right now. A lot of physicality, lots of scoring chances, great goaltending. This has been nonstop action back and forth.
A good crowd on tap, too. It's the most exciting 1-1 game you'll see. You've got some Dubuque Fighting Saints are watching the action. I saw some Steel players, some Gamblers, some Muskies. It's not just a great opportunity for the scouts to get to see the Lumberjacks and the USHL play, but opponents, too. You get to go watch, and all these guys know each other. Mm-hmm. They all played against and with each other at the former levels. They'll play against and with each other in college. They get a chance to see their buddies in action here at the Fall Classic. Burrs Collins chips it down the ice. 25 seconds to go in the period. We'll start the third while 4-on-4, but will we start the third while tied 1-1? Vikla has other ideas. Across the way he goes. Reber, it's poked off his stick and into his team bench. So we get a stoppage and a neutral zone faceoff with 12.4 to go. And by the way, we mentioned the scouts and the USHL skaters. You have a youth tournament going on at the same time. So not only are the college scouts seeing guys who are going to be on an impact for them in 2 or 3 years, maybe even next year, you're looking at guys who are going to be big impacts for you in 5 years, 6 years, after they make their way through the USHL. It also gives the USHL general managers a chance to see some young guys take to the ice this week.
An incredible hockey weekend here in Pittsburgh.
Waterloo to the offensive zone. Danny Clares lays a check. 3 seconds to go in the period. Zemaitis looking for a last-second shot, but time expires. And so we go to the third period, tied up the same way we entered the second, 1-1. It'll be 4-on-4 hockey. Johnny and I will take a step aside. When we come back, we've got the intermission report for you right here on FloHockey and the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces. Welcome back into FloHockey, the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Surfaces, alongside Johnny Lazarus, Ezra Janello with you. Just about 9 minutes to go until the start of the third period. We're back with the Lumberjacks Hockey Network intermission report. Johnny, the most exciting 0-0 period of hockey I think you're ever going to see. Both goalies we said it pregame, we said it in the first intermission, we're saying it again. This has been a goalie duel from the get-go.
Muskegon has had so many wide open chances, it feels like, and the puck just won't go in. I mean, Anthony Thomas Maroon, I thought, had a great chance in the slot. He missed the net a little bit wide. He's been very impressive, though, in his first junior game. Drew Stewart had that backdoor chance off the great feed off the wall from Niles Benson. But Phileas Lashaw right now, to me, Ezra, he's the story of this game. He's the reason why it's still 1-1. Muskegon, as the shots say on the scoreboard right now, it's 24-14. Muskegon's been in full control, but they can't find a way to beat this kid.
And it's not just been the goaltending and the pace of play, good pace right from the hop, but the physicality of the play too. And I think you got a taste of Drew Stewart's game. You talked about him being a stereotypical ECAC grinding hockey player. He's very smart off the ice. He's going to an Ivy League school in Dartmouth. But it's not just Stewart or Jake Stewart, who was very physical in that first period. You saw Danny Clares, and it's not just the Lumberjacks. Adam Belusco got crunched late in that second period. He was up on his feet under his own power. Play continued. He talked with Lumberjacks athletic trainer Callie Sitter. We'll see if Belusco joins the fellas on the ice. But it feels like the guys have been, since that Game 5, just chomping at the bit to get back into the action.
And you could tell that even though things aren't going the way they want, they are having fun. Like, this feels like a fun game to play in. Every time you're in front of the net and the goalie covers the puck up, there's a scrum. That's when guys are, like, truly engaged, right? And I know it's the first game of the season, so it's easy to get up for that. But this also isn't necessarily a home game, so you don't feed off the crowd. That's something that's kind of missing from this game. While it is an incredible atmosphere here in Pittsburgh with all these, unbelievable people in the hockey world that are here watching, it's hard to feed off the energy, right? So you got to build that energy yourself, and I think both teams have done a great job of that.
By the way, Merles is here too. You said hello to him. Yeah,
that was Army.
That was Army.
Oh no!
I got my game notes, guys, mixed up.
Oh,
that's me. That's my fault. You know what it is? Is I'm not so dialed in on the Instagram, but all these long bus rides, like in Muskegon, your shortest drive is the NTDP, 2.5, 3 hours Chicago, but from there it's 6 hours and on. So I'm listening to the podcast, so you don't see what they look
on the
like.
Audio.
Yeah, audio only.
Pittsburgh Penguins legend. Well, I guess both guys played for the Penguins, but. That's good stuff.
That whole podcast is mixed in. They just got to get Jans in there, I guess. Honorary Penguin, I guess.
But it's cool to see Colby Armstrong here. I mean, his ties are to the Western Hockey League, but obviously he's a Pittsburgh local. His son, Cruz, was drafted in the WHL, but also could be potentially a USHL player. Who knows? But it's great to see guys like that who are invested in the United States Hockey League that want to come see the next wave of talent who, will be playing in the NHL, will be playing in college around this area. So it's awesome to see the former NHLers that are here. There's a lot in this building.
And you mentioned Cruz drafted to the WHL. He could be a USHL guy, right? Like, the rule change, and there's so much conversation going around it. But what it does, when you boil everything down to it, is it gives the player the choice to go where he wants to go. And we got to work through it, right? There's a lot of reaction that has to come from it on the rules side, on the membership side, on everything. But right now the players have more choice than they've ever had. And I think you're seeing that guys like Belusco, who comes to Muskegon from the WHL, Tynan Lawrence, had every opportunity to leave and go to the QMJHL. He was joking with me earlier. He's got a boot on right now, so he's off limits to media. That's our rule. If you're injured, you're not on limits for interviews. And I said to him, if you want, you can come sit right next to me. No one will bother you. It's all right. He goes, no, they all ask me the same 4 questions. Yeah. And the biggest one is always just, why'd you come back? And, he had that choice. He could have gone and played in another organization, in another league. And he said, nope, Muskegon is where I won. Muskegon is where I'm at. I'm a Lumberjack, and he's back here for another season in the USHL. And that, I think, is the biggest telltale sign of what organization is a top-tier organization when you have players choosing to come play in this new age of junior hockey with the rule changes.
Especially after winning, like you said, you'd think he'd want a new challenge. right?
Right.
A kid who's so competitive, 16 years old, wins the playoff MVP, tore up the league, but he comes back and he wants to do it all again because of the camaraderie, not only of the Muskegon Lumberjacks organization, but because of these opportunities as well, right? You're playing in a showcase right now that has every NHL team represented. I know he's committed to Boston University, but also, every college here represented. There's so many eyeballs on this league because of showcases and events like this. And honestly, Glenn Heffern, the commissioner of the league, and everyone around this league has done a great job at showcasing the league since this rule has changed.
And you look at the footprint of where we are. Muskegon is considered an outlier team in the USHL because there's only 2 teams east of them, and you got to go down and around Lake Michigan on the road trips. But if you're an NHL scout and you've got to go find somewhere to go, Michigan is right in everybody's backyard. Most NHL teams have scouts that are based in the Chicago, Detroit area. That's a 30-minute commuter flight into the Muskegon airport out of O'Hare. It is a commuter flight. I think they have one going to Detroit as well. It's a drive just across the state. So it's the perfect place to play when you're a top prospect for the NHL draft and you want to get those eyes on you, or if you're Belusco coming from the WHL and you're saying, you know what, I want to go play college hockey. Well, where are all the college hockey commitments coming out of? What organizations have those relationships in place already with the colleges and want you to go play college hockey? That's right here, and that's the Muskegon Lumberjacks. You've seen a trio of first-rounders in the past few years, and you look at the line charts, and I was laughing. Matt McGreevy printed out full-color line charts, and I said, is this because I made a big stink last year with the single color? But I like it. It shows you have the green, you have the red, the yellow from Colorado College, UMD pops, UMass pops.
It's the prettiest junior hockey lineup chart I've ever seen.
Well, I appreciate that. I didn't design them. They were here when I got here, and I wanted to change them a little bit. And Andrea Rose, our president of business operations, she's so great and she's so good at her job. And most of her job is really telling me to knock it off and stop trying to change things. And they're good charts.
It pops out. It's beautiful. And it's easy for people like us, the broadcasters. We know where to look, who is who, what school is what. Because sometimes logos, when they're in black and white, can be a little bit tougher to read. But excellent job from the Muskegon Lumberjacks media team to put this beautiful line chart together in the 15th year.
15th year, yep. 2010-11, first season in the USHL. Hockey's been in Muskegon, and if you haven't made a trip out to Muskegon, you got to come to Muskegon. It's we play across the street from the OG rink, the Mart Dock. That was a hockey rink back in the 40s. By the way, Pat Maroon.
I just saw that.
He's on the bench for this third period. He has not been on the bench all game, so I wonder if that's Coach St. Clair saying, hey, we need to get over the hump. Let's see if you got something to add here.
He saw Anthony miss the net in the second period, and now he wants to get into his ear for the third.
We might see Rob Hudson make his way onto the bench in that case, too. Lars had a bit of a turnover in the first period. Dad's in town. It's always nervous. Playing in front of NHL scouts and playing in front of the college scouts, but when Dad's in the building, you grip your stick just a little tighter sometimes. But the Lumberjacks, we're talking about line charts. You can expect to see throughout this USHL 62-game season. Gustas Zemaitis, an 06 uncommitted. He'll be committed. Ty Bergeron, I'm sure his phone is ringing off the hook. Anthony Thomas Maroon, whose dad went the way of the CHL out of the North American League and got drafted out of the OHL. He's here in the USHL. He's going to play college hockey. He's going to play good college hockey. Lars Hudson, you got to imagine, 3 brothers going through BU. They're in attendance today. They're seeing good games, yeah. So it's a lot of fun here in Muskegon, here in Pittsburgh for the Fall Classic. And listen, this is the best situation as a hockey player. Colton went to the room and said, fellas, if you win the period, you win the game. Just go win a shift, go win a period. And they've dominated all game. They're dominating the shot totals. They've just got one guy dominating them, and that's Philius Lachot.
The biggest thing, though, for Muskegon, too, to that point, Ezra, is not beating themselves. Because we saw the one goal they gave up. It was a self-inflicted wound, a mistake they made in the D zone, and Waterloo was on the attack. They made him pay. But when Muskegon has made the simple play and gotten the puck out of the zone, they've found some success. But when they've bobbled the puck in their own zone, they try to get too cute and make the fancy play instead of the simple play. It's cost them. So if you are on that Muskegon Lumberjack bench right now, every chance you have to get the puck out of the zone, it has to get out.
It has to get out. By the way, since Pat's on the bench, we can tell the story a little bit of how he became a member of the Lumberjacks coaching staff. His son, Anthony, obviously on the team, and they were doing Zoom calls throughout the offseason. Pat was listening in, as every good hockey father does, making sure his son's going to the right spot. And he was very impressed with Coach St. Clair, very impressed with the message and the way that we operate in Muskegon. Said, I want to be a part of this. I want to get on the bench. I want to be a part of what you guys are doing. And Coach St. Clair said, are you kidding me? We want to go back-to-back. That's your specialty. We want to be a part of you. And by the way, the PK, that's all Taylor Ward. He gets his first look. Lumberjacks, 22 seconds of 4-on-3 shorthanded time. It's Danny Claire's. A small blemish on what's been a fantastic evening for the Wayzata, Minnesota native.
A little cross-check right there at the top of your screen. Off the face-off, not the way you want to start this third period if you're Muskegon. And also losing Danny Claire's and having Drew Stewart in the box, two of your better PKers for the most part, right? Danny Claire's is a guy who's very good in his own zone, so that's another salt in the wound right there if you're the Lumberjacks. And not only that, Ezra, but for 22 seconds, it's a 4-on-3 before it becomes a 5-on-4. So a quick opportunity here for the Waterloo Blackhawks to pounce and try to take a 2-1 lead.
The goal right now is just win the faceoff. You win the faceoff, it almost goes straight to 5-on-4. They trust Melvin Novotny with it, but it's won back by Schultz, and here's Vikla. They set up in tight. Jete fired on. Big rebound comes up Vikla. Back to Jete. They play pass. Chase Jete for Vikla. From the slot, he scores. It didn't take long. Waterloo 1 for 1 on the power play on this season. It's the defenseman, Ate Vikla, the Finland native, who strikes, and it's 2-1 Hawks.
Ate Vikla and Chase Jete were playing catch at almost the hash marks. Look how in tight the three Muskegon Lumberjack penalty killers are. They're all at the top of the blue paint, giving Axelson essentially no chance to come out and attack the shot with how close the Waterloo Blackhawks got in. And it's Vikla who's able to just pick his corner, going high to the glove side. And now Muskegon faces another 1-goal deficit.
Just 23 seconds into the third period. That does it for the penalty. So Claire's out of the box. Stewart still awaits his opportunity to join across from Lalibert. They'll get it in 3 seconds. Here's Jean-Samuel Dino to the near side. Jack Chris. Stewart out of the box. Joins the rush. JSD, though, has it near side. He looked out in front, but it went off a white jersey. Now Blanchard. Chuck cycles down low for Stewart. Looks for Christ and has him far side. Up to the blue line it comes. Fired on by Lance. Blocked in traffic. Jack Christ out for Lance in the slot. Taken off his stick and carried the other way. It's Anthony Pelletieri who gets it down to the corner. Big reverse check. It was Blanchard on the receiving end. Make that Drew Stewart. Here's Emery. Away from Stewart. Fires to the near side, and Pelletieri wraps it around. Blanchard. Across the way, centers for Christ. Another big check from a Blackhawk. That was Dylan Nolan. While Emery leaves off for DeGraff, and it's held on to by Axelson.
Waterloo's found their confidence. They're playing with a little bit of skill right now. Colin Emery's had some great chances in this game. He sets up another odd man rush of a quick transition. But if you're Muskegon, you got to play a little bit more simple. We saw it happen in the first period. They let up that first goal, and they kept the game short and sweet. Obviously, we saw a crazy pass by Niles Benson to set up the goal from Carter Sanderson, but they responded right away. So let's see how Muskegon comes out here in the next 3 minutes, 39 seconds, if they can settle in and try to get back to their game.
Face-off won by the Hawks. Here's Cade Meyer. He sends it down low. Behind the net, Claire's tangled up with a Hawk. They wanted a call. They don't get one. Instead, it comes up to the blue line where Jake Stewart gets it out of the zone. Meyer, D to D, finds the stick of his partner, Wyatt Harris. Trubicki bangs a body. Collins picks up possession. To the near side, Lars Hudson. A saucer pass ahead to Jake Stewart. Bouncing puck finds Collins across the way. Rudy behind the net. Pinned against the wall and knocked down to his knees. Jake Stewart comes in and picks up possession. To the blue line, here's Dexheimer. Nate Selski now, he fires on. And LaShaw holds on in the glove. Meyer going at it with a Lumberjack below the goal line. That's Rudy Collins. The officials work to separate the party.
Cade Meyer was not letting Rudy Collins get anywhere near that blue paint. He was all over him, and you got to credit 21 in white all night. He's been the tough guy on defense for Waterloo. He's been throwing the body. You see on the left of your screen right there, he doesn't even let Collins get close. Gives him a cross check, maybe to the face, but the refs have been letting them play all night, so you can't expect a call there.
Clear-cut penalties, you're going to get the call. If not, the fellas are playing. And this Waterloo team, the story of the game right now, if I'm Tim Harwood writing this post-game recap, Hawks capitalize on opportunities. A turnover inside the Lumberjack zone. It's 1-0. A 4-on-3 power play. It's 2-1. They've gotten just 2 grade A opportunities, and they've taken advantage of both of them. Here's Melvin Novotny in his own zone, ahead for Niles Benson. Near side, Sanderson, met by White Rabbit. Ty Mason on his heels as well. Dexheimer looks to clear the zone. It's kept in. Here's Mason. Back with Benson. Chipped off the far side wall. Reber gets it in his own end. Ahead for Mason. And now Carlson to the offensive zone. Met by JSD, but he keeps possession. To the near side, White Rabbit. Poked away by Dexheimer, and below the goal line it goes. First one on it, Melvin Novotny. Head up, feet moving, cuts to the low slot. Dangerous play.
Sorry.
But he found JSD. Don't apologize. I was thinking the same thing.
The intrusive thoughts won that one.
It's a scary thing to see if you're a goalie, your player skate right in front of you with the puck in your own zone. Chase Jete, the opportunity. He's had a strong game. He's got an assist tonight on what would be the game winner as of right now. Carlson works down to the corner. Taken away by Bergeron. To the near side, here's Reese Lance. Takes a check. Picked up by Carlson. Now Jete cycles it around. The first one on it, Traharn, the Minneapolis native, finds Jete in the slot. Up to the blue line, turns and fires. Glove save for Lance. Big rebound in tight. Nice save made by Axelson on the second chance. He lost his stick. Traharn, near side corner. Behind the net it goes. JSD ahead for Zemaitis. To the blue line, it's kept in. Zemaitis looks to clear it. He can't. Instead, near side, here's Lance. Long shift for the Wisconsin native. Lance ahead for Zemaitis. And now Thomas Maroon gets it in.
Anthony Thomas Maroon made a great play in the defensive zone. A last-ditch effort to poke that puck loose because Jete could have had a wide-open net in that rebound to make it 3-1.
Still stickless is Axelson. He picks it up, and now Belusco back on the ice. Gets it to the offensive zone. Down to the corner, here's Chuck Blanchard. Far side, Christ. Up the wall, taken by Erickson. Cuts to the middle, and now Lefebvre taps it away from Belusco, but he's met by Clares. Far side corner. Meyer the first one on it. Christ on his heels. Now Blanchard on the forecheck. It's chipped off the glass and down the ice. Glove down in the neutral zone by a Hawk. The offensive zone they go. That's Lefebvre who wraps it around far side. Erickson away from Blanchard. Now Lefebvre cuts to the middle. Poked off his stick by Stewart. A stickless Belusco plays behind the net. No hand pass in his own zone. His stick broken laying on the ice. He gets off for a change. Lars Hudson replaces him.
Craziness over there by the Muskegon bench, and that shift. Clares broke his stick or lost his stick, and then Belusco lost his stick and broke his stick as well. Both defensemen had to fight for 15 seconds without a stick.
Colin Fairfield making his USHL debut as the head equipment manager in Muskegon. Interned with the team back in the 22-23 season. Was a stick boy as a kid for the pro team in Muskegon. Now he's the man in town, the new head equipment manager for the Lumberjacks. The offensive zone come the Hawks. It's Owen DeGraff. Up top, Jerez. His shot blocked by Stewart. Jerez keeps it in, but it's poked out by Dexheimer. DeGraff goes across the way. Here's Schultz. Down to the corner. Fired on. Tough angle and out of play it goes. 14:07 showing on the outer hung scoreboards.
Owen DeGraff, the Penn State commit, played on the Long Island Gulls last year actually with Anthony Thomas Maroon, so those two have a chance to play against each other for the first time probably in quite some time. Today, DeGraff, again, a younger guy making his junior hockey debut. You know, it's always tough to make that adjustment. We've seen a lot of the younger players so far in this game have a little bit of nerves to their game. They've had some good flashes, as we just saw there from DeGraff. But again, your first junior hockey game, especially when it's in a showcase like this, there's a lot of thoughts going through your mind. It's, you know, how am I going to adjust? There's so many scouts watching. I got to make the right play. I got to show off a little bit so I can show my skill. There's so many things that run through a player's mind.
Face-off won by the Lumberjacks. They clear the zone. Here's Carter Sanders, and he's got the lone Jacks goal so far. Back in the first period, he was assisted by that guy, Niles Benson. But up the far side, here's Ty Mason. Scored a big goal in the final last year. The offensive zone he goes, but down to his knees he falls. Nate Selski lays a check. Benson wins possession. Poked off his stick. Fired on. Axelson makes the save and continues play. Mason behind the net. Pops out and fires a shot. Axelson hugging the post, holds on for the stoppage.
This is probably the most momentum that Waterloo has had in the entire game. It feels like they've been on the attack for the last 4 or 5 minutes. According to the shot clock here in the arena, it was 24-14 as far as the scoreboard says after the second. Right now it's 24-21 in favor of Muskegon, but that would tell us the shots are 7-0 in this period in favor of Waterloo. Good math by Johnny.
Good math.
Right now.
Better than me.
But the Lumberjacks are down 1 and they're on their heels. They got to find a way to change the momentum somehow.
Well, you called it in the first period. There was going to be a fight. And if I had to guess, Lumberjacks hockey is fighting hockey. That's a great way to change the momentum in your favor. They've got Blanchard's unit out. Drew Stewart and Jack Christ with him. Here comes Jack Christ. Back down to Stewart. Fired on. Rebound loose for just half a second. And now we get going right in the blue paint. Jete has a hold of a Lumberjack. Stewart. He's got Lalibert as well.
It's Cade Meyer in the mix again. Number 21 for the Waterloo Blackhawks. He loves those post-whistle scrums. He loves getting in his opponent's head. It's been obvious all day, and he's tough. He's tough, that 5'8" left shot defenseman.
Faceoff's going to come out of the Waterloo zone. The defenseman had dropped down from the blue line. Belusco, some pleas to the officials saying that he was in the rush, and that's why he dropped down. But the pleas fall on deaf ears in the faceoff. Far side of the neutral zone with 13-18 to go in regulation. Johnny Lazarus, Ezra Janello. Third period of an exciting, low-scoring game. Goaltending duel between the Lumberjacks and Blackhawks. This is the same vibe as all 5 games in that Clark Cup final had, except for the first one. The first one had goals galore. This is much closer to games 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reverse check by Drew Stewart. Looks to win possession. But instead, Erickson clears the zone, and here comes Emery off for Lefeur. Swiped away by Belusco. And centered out in front for Stewart. Here comes Clares. Looks for a Chris near side. It bounces off the wall, and icing waved off. The Jacks can get a line change.
Jack Chris is due for a big play, huh?
Yeah, that's a guy that when you need it most, he finds a way to help out in whatever way he can. Trubicki, near side Bergeron. The tender on the ice in a 1-goal game late in regulation. Here he comes. He assisted Jack Christ's lone goal in the preseason. Harris taken away by Trubicki, but it trickles to the far side corner. Anthony Thomas Maroon down for Bergeron, but it's picked up by Erickson and carried the other direction. Across the way, Carlson. That's Toby Carlson, the Alaska native, taken away by Lars Hudson. Back behind the net, Dexheimer. To the near side, Hudson. Lars away from Carlson, D-to-D with Dexheimer again. Barrett knocked down to his knees, picked up by Carlson. Hudson loses his stick. It's slashed out of his hands. Play continues. Here's Jete. Popped out in front. Loose in the blue paint. Dexheimer swiped it away. Thomas Maroon now. Gets off for a change. Jete had to hold up. Carlson had to get back on side, but here they come. Fired on, and Axelson, he holds on once more. Not a lot of rebounds to be had in this game. Not a lot of opportunities for the Hawks, but they've capitalized when they've gone the good ones.
That was a relentless forecheck, though, by the Waterloo Blackhawks. Lars Hudson and I think it was Barrett Dexheimer were caught in their own zone for about 45 seconds to a minute and seemed to have no options to pass the puck. Waterloo is smothering Muskegon here in the third period. The Lumberjacks have not looked like themselves at all, or at least from what we saw in the first 40 minutes.
11:27 to go in the third. You can see associate coach Taylor Ward was on the bench last year at Army West Point, Division I college hockey. He's talking with the forwards, talking about providing options for your defensemen when they're below the goal line for a breakout pass.
They're trying to fly the zone so they can cheat for offense to tie it up. and you're leaving your defenseman out to dry.
Schultz centers the offensive zone to Graff. He sends it in across the way. Lance off for Zemaitis. Now Rudy Burzcons. The Jacks fly the zone, but a great defensive play on the back end by White Rabbit shut it down. Zemaitis, though, to the offensive end. Poked off his stick, but here's Burzcons. Far side, fired on off the back wall. A nice save by LaShawn, who's on his backside as the play goes dead. Puck went out into the seating bowl.
Jake Stewart got behind LaShawn, too, and tripped him up. The Waterloo bench wanted a call. Refs have been letting them play all night, and they're letting them do that here in the last 11 minutes of this third period. You have to have some sort of panic if you're Muskegon, though, as you see right there in the middle of your screen. Stewart gets behind LaShaw and trips him up a little bit, but there doesn't seem like there's enough urgency right now on Muskegon's bench, and I wonder what Pat Maroon, someone who's been in so many big games, so many big moments, is telling the guys, especially in what is probably one of his first experiences behind the bench.
It is. He talked about wanting to diversify what he's doing. Pat is not just an assistant coach for the Lumberjacks. He is a team ambassador for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he is also a host on the NHL. I'm not even the highest-ranking broadcaster in our own building. He's on the NHL Network, but he's coaching. He loves to stay involved in the game, even when he's not in Muskegon and he's doing his other tasks. He's watching on FloHockey. He's tagging. He's on FaceTime calls with players in Muskegon. And now he's on the bench, and he's hoping to help them win a very close game. Like you said, something that he's been doing for the past 19 years. Here's Melvin Novotny, side of the net, pops out in front. Sanderson just a bit away from the pass. Now Belusco, his shot deflected out of play by DeGraff. The faceoff will stay right in the Waterloo zone, but with some new bodies on each side.
You get a sense of the skill, though, from Melvin Novotny, who had so many chances, I feel like, in the first period. Not as loud here in the second and third, but if one just finds a way to get him some time and space, as you see right there, he has a second to make a move. He just lost the puck as he tried to pull it from backhand to forehand, but the skill has been on display all night from Melvin Novotny.
Face off near side. It's Drew Stewart. He's good at these. Christ outside, Blanchard on the inside, though it's one back by Waterloo. Fired off the glass and out of the zone. Lars Hudson, a great play at the red line, sniffed it out, and here comes Christ. Near side, Drew Stewart to the offensive end, but he grabs a hold of his counterpart. Once the Jacks touch up, they'll go shorthanded, just as there is a backdoor opportunity, too. That's usually how it works.
I think the Lumberjack bench actually wanted the call on, I'm blanking on which defenseman it was at the time, but it looked like it could have been maybe interference, and that's why Drew Stewart hang on. But a tough time to take a penalty right now if you're Muskegon, because they just allowed a shorthanded goal at the start of this period. Now they're facing another big PK here with a chance to go down 2. So this could actually be a great opportunity, though. If the PK has a big kill, they build momentum off of it, and then the bench gets going. So turning point here in this game, no matter how it goes.
The TSN turning point, some say. It's Schultz who leans in across from Rudy Burzcons. Schultz wins it back, and here's Vikla. He's got the power play goal, looking for his second. His shot goes off a body and high. Far side, it's Dylan Nolan. Curls up the wall, still has it on his forehand. Down to Schultz. Back up to Nolan. Works down, still with it. Toe drag shot, turned aside. Rebound goes straight to Schultz, side of the net. Here's Vikla to the near side. Jete. His shot held on to by Axelson. And now we get some more post-whistle activities. Benson is fired up. He's got Nolan. Burzcons has a couple white jerseys in his grasp, and the whistle is still blowing from the officials.
Brock Schultz and Dylan Nolan just got absolutely assaulted in front of that net, but the shot by Jete hits off Brock Schultz and almost ricocheted into the back of the net. Lucky bounce for the Lumberjacks that it didn't, but aggressive goaltending as well from Axelson. He's been stellar all night. I mean, you can't blame the goaltender by any means in this game. Waterloo, though, has really found their footing.
Colton St. Clair is asking why the faceoff is still in the Jacks' end. Just moments ago, the Jacks, they lost an offensive zone draw. Coach St. Clair saying, hey, they just did the same thing we did, but it stays in the Muskegon end. Still a minute 31 to go on the power play. Schultz 2 for 2 on the draws on this advantage. Here's Jete, fired on. Great block by Reese Lance. Lance on the back end with Dexheimer. Benson and Burzcons ahead of him. Jete up top to Vikla. Across the way, Dylan Nolan. Down low, Schultz behind the net. Pressured by Dexheimer. Lance comes in to help out as well. Carlson pinned to the wall by Lance. Taken out by Burzcons. Looks to clear it. It's kept in by Jete. Down to the near side corner. Pops out in front. Dexheimer to the blue line. Jete keeps it in once more. Across the way, Nolan works to keep it in and does. Heavy check by Benson. Almost put him into the Muskegon bench. Now Jete up top to Vikla. Works the blue line, now near side, Jete. Centers out front.
Ooh.
Carlson the chance. I don't think Axelson had saw the shot. Near side wall, Vikla keeps it in at the blue line. Across the way he goes, Dylan Nolan. Big slap shot wide. Jacks can get a change in the final 25 seconds of the penalty.
Crazy. Muskegon had so many chances to clear the puck, they couldn't. And the one time the puck gets out of the zone, it's off a slap shot that rims around the boards by Waterloo.
Behind the Waterloo net, Sanderson laid a check onto the puck carrying Jimmy Reber, who still has it. He leaves off for DeGraff. His shot high and wide. And again, out of the zone it goes. Drew Stewart about ready to join the play. The door opens and he's on the ice. We're back at even strength.
Huge kill for Muskegon. Now you can feel the bench. The energy will shift, and let's see if they can get on the attack.
A shot blocked by Sanderson. Emery poked off his stick by Stewart. And across the way, here's Melvin Novotny. Clears the zone to Sanderson. Tried to tap it past the defense. Now Claire is another big hit, showing off the physicality. Had one in the second. Now here one in the third. Stewart off for JSD. Dino, a Quebec native. Carries up the near side. Now over the blue line. Leaves off for Christ and gets it back. Down low, White Rabbit, far side. Blanchard right on his heels. Leaves off for Drew Stewart. Behind the net he goes. Stewart out in front. Hudson fires. Couldn't get all of it.
Got to one-time that if you can.
Here's Jack Christ up top to Hudson. Middle of the blue line. Lars near side finds Christ. Tough angle. Walks across the goal line. Pops out in front. He scores. Johnny, you called it. Jack Christ was due for a big play, and it ties the game up at 2 apiece.
What an unbelievable individual effort by Jack Christ. And it starts with the way that he receives the pass from Lars Hudson. Hudson gives him a saucer. He turns and catches it on his backhand and then attacks the blue paint. And it looks like he sneaks it through the 5-hole of LaShaw. But Jack Christ, in every big moment of his career, he comes up with some sort of spectacular play. And right there, it's Hudson who also makes up for that first goal that was allowed in the game. He can feel good now about that. And we got a 2-2 hockey game here in the third. This game has just delivered and delivered.
Waterloo, we see them in October, the end of October, the 24th and 25th at Young Arena. They've got to be saying, can we just stop playing against Jack Christ? Like, this guy has tore them up in just a couple of games against them. Gets his team back even. Here's Nate Selski across the way. Selski wraps it around. Here's Bergeron near side. Zemaitis up top, Lance. New life for the Lumberjacks. Here's Lance near side of the blue line. He cycles it down low. Thomas Maroon, he's tangled up with a hawk in front of the net. That's Cade Meyer back in the mix.
No surprise, Cade Meyer again, protecting the house.
Lance to Selski. Selski's shot gets blocked, but Zemaitis cycles it down for Thomas Maroon. Works up the far side. He goes down to the ice. Keeps it close, though, back to his feet. Here's Ty Bergeron. Off for Lance. Fired on. A great block shot out in front by Meyer.
Unbelievable.
Now Lance behind the net for Zemaitis. Gets it back near side. Jack start a line change. Bergeron and Thomas Maroon off. Stewart and Burzcons on, but here comes Waterfield. Poked on to Axelson. Fired, they score! Arm the official was up in the air. Drew Waterfield. Tough on his stick, heavy on the puck. Fights off the contact and beats Carl Axelson to regain the Waterloo lead.
It is crazy how this sport works because Muskegon just tied the game and had all the momentum on their side, and all it takes is one opportunity, and that's what Waterloo has been all night. They've been opportunistic. Drew Waterfield gets to the puck first, protects it using his left leg to shield himself from the Muskegon defenseman, and then just gets a lucky bounce on the backhand over the shoulder of Axelson. It looks like the Muskegon bench right now might want to challenge it. It could have been goaltender interference,
They're
but a
taking
great
look
individual
at it.
effort there by Waterfield. I think that's a good goal.
Yeah, they don't have a It was Nate Selski who had collided with Carl Axelson. Selski had the inside lane. So they're going to call this a good goal, I've got to imagine. But the Lumberjacks and head coach Colton St. Clair, they're taking an extended look at the iPad, but the conference behind the bench breaks up. It's 3-2 Hawks with 5:57 to go in the third. Up the near side. Traharn sends in. Here's Drabicki, taken away by Vikla in the neutral zone. Well, you can only fight for the next 43 seconds. No fighting in the USHL under 5. Icing called against the Hawks. This isn't the time for it on an offensive zone draw, but
I was just thinking the same thing, though, Ezra, because you feel the game shifting in your favor after you tie the game. You get a great shift from the young guns, that fourth line of Thomas Maroon, Bergeron, and Zemaitis, and then just one crazy thing happens, and in the matter of seconds, Waterloo comes the other way and scores a goal. But every time it feels like Muskegon's in control, Waterloo has a response.
5:40 to go in regulation. Face-off won by Waterloo. Jake Stewart lost his bucket, so he gets off, and Sanderson takes his place, joining Drabicki and Burzkals. Claire's D-to-D with Belusco, taken away by the Hawks and Traharn. He sends it back down behind the net. Claire's, now Drabicki. Sanderson flies the zone. Icing will be waved off.
It should have been. I don't know how it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sanderson did hold up for like a second, but he still looked like he won that race to the puck.
Well, it comes back down to the Muskegon end with 5:13 to go in regulation.
Think it's time for the timeout?
I think they've got enough of a breather, right?
Sanderson looks gassed right now.
Yeah, he does. It was a race. But they're going to line up. They'll take the face-off. I think St. Clair wants to hold on to it just for a little later in a one-goal game. Burzkals leans in. He's across from Nolan. One back by Nolan. Schultz fires. Great block by Sanderson. That's got to have the Pittsburgh brass upstairs smiling just a little bit, knowing you got a guy that can score a goal in the first period and block a shot in the third. Taken away from Hudson. Here's Nolan near side. Turns and fires. Axelson the save. The rebound loose. Wraparound attempt shut down by Niles Benson. Reber keeps it in. Here's Nolan to the near side corner. It's DeGraff on it. Now Sanderson looks to clear it and does. Sent back to the Muskegon zone. Here's Carter Sanderson. Off for Novotny. Across to Benson. At the red line, sends it in. Novotny gives chase. Sanderson replaced by Christ. Another big need for the Lumberjacks. Trailing by one again. 4:20 to go in regulation. Here's Dexheimer. A structured breakout. Carries up the near side and finds Christ. Taken away by Cade Myers. Sent back up the near side. LaFair sends it in. Here comes Emery, met by Belusco and shut down.
Great active stick by Belusco to break that up. Emery knew exactly what he was going to do. Belusco didn't give him the room.
Popped out in front. Low slot, picked up by Christ and cleared out of danger to the neutral zone. Back up the far side, LaFair. Now Dexheimer down low. Up the far side wall. Battle continues. It comes away with Waterloo. From the slot, fired on. Great block by Lance. Picked up by Lalibert in the neutral zone. Future UNH Wildcat. Make that Northern Michigan. He plays college hockey in the CCHA. Here comes Drew Stewart. The offensive zone. Dexheimer is going to go to the box for interference. With 3:21 to go in the third.
3 penalties in the third period for Muskegon. Frustration just starting to kick in a little bit, but Dexheimer just got the puck behind the net, and you heard from the Lumberjack bench someone screaming, see ya, because he's used his legs all night to burn by the Waterloo players. This one doesn't seem like it's on purpose. He definitely gets in the way of the Waterloo Blackhawk. It's a tough time to call that, but you got to be smarter there if you're Barrett Dexheimer.
Faceoff comes down to the Muskegon zone. He is one of the top penalty killers on the roster. But now you need a power kill, if anything. Jacks will be back at even strength with 1 minute and 21 seconds to go in regulation. Face-off won by the Hawks. Stewart got it to the blue line, but Vikla sends it down low. Here's Schultz. Off for Carlson. Stewart drops down to help out Danny Clares to the far side corner. On the half wall, down to Schultz. Away from Clares, he's knocked down to the ice. Now Sanderson looking for Stewart. It goes back to the near side corner. Stewart hit from behind.
Oh, no.
Down to his knees, arm the official in the air.
Oh, no, that did not look good. He went in face first.
Lumberjacks athletic trainer, Callie Sitter, goes to take a look. Stewart back up to his own 2 feet. Under his own power, he meets Sitter in the low slot. And hey, you might got to give Jake Stewart. If the Lumberjacks can capitalize on what should be a big power play here.
Oh, man.
He might be the grinder of the game for taking one for the team.
That is hurtful to see a player go into the boards like that. And it's Brock Schultz, the captain of Waterloo, who sees a player with his numbers and hits him like that. He just goes into the board so awkwardly. His helmet comes off. Jake Stewart, he's shown his toughness all night, and he popped right back up. Credit to him for getting up on his own 2 feet. But that's got to be a 5-minute. I don't know how you don't call that a 5.
Schultz is going to hit the showers early if I had to guess. And it's funny because I try really hard to be very neutral. You asked me this morning, we were texting, and you said, is this a home broadcast or a neutral one? And I said, well, we are as neutral as they come for the home broadcasts. But it does look a little scary. And Stewart was facing the boards. It's not like he turned at the last second. And he had to go quite a bit. He was halfway between the goal line and the bottom of the circle when he got checked. So he had a good two feet that he had to go and to get to those boards.
Just can't really protect himself in a spot like that when you're that far from the boards. I don't think Schultz really gave everything into that hit, but it's just such an awkward position to be in as a puck retriever that, I don't think Jake Stewart really anticipated that kind of hit coming, and it's just such an awkward play. But I'm happy he was getting up on his own 2 feet. It was good to see him get off on his own power.
So the referees come out of the box. They've given the call to the timekeepers. Just 2 minutes go up on the board for Schultz.
Wow. I don't know how
But his night is over. He's got a 2 and a 10.
I'm not sure how that's called 2 minutes.
If I'm the Lumberjacks, I'm saying, hey, that's got to be a 5 because the 2, that penalty expires with 48 seconds to go. A 5 means that not only do you have it for the rest of regulation, but if you can capitalize on it, you're starting overtime 4-on-3. So Schultz goes down the tunnel. Erickson takes his place in the penalty box. We'll get 4-on-4 hockey for 1 minute and 28 seconds. There's only 2:48 to go in regulation. Waterloo, they lead 3-2.
I'm surprised there isn't more anger from the Muskegon bench that that's only a 2 minute.
I do know that Coach St. Clair is big on controlling the controllables and not getting overwhelmed by the uncontrollables. And one thing you can control is who you have on the ice. It's a power play for the Lumberjacks with the empty net. Axelson on the bench. Sanderson on with Bergeron, Novotny, Blanchard, and Clares.
I just want to note, smart coaching move, because if Waterloo ices the puck, it's even strength, so it's an icing. That's why they pulled him early.
Yes. Here's Clares, now Novotny up top. Clares again, middle of the blue line, near side, Blanchard. Blanchard across, looks for Novotny. Good stick in the lane by Harris, but it's kept in by the Lumberjacks. Now wrapped around the near side and all the way down the ice. Not enough mustard for the icing, so here's Clares. 2:18 to go in regulation. Danny Clares drops off for Novotny. Ahead, here's Chuck Blanchard to the offensive zone. Novotny meets it behind the net. It's played around the near side. Clares keeps it in. Danny, near side, Blanchard. Holds back up top to Clares. Far side, Novotny one-timer. Big save, rebound loose, they score! It's Chuck Blanchard and Carter Sanderson causing a havoc in the blue paint, and the Lumberjacks, they tie the game up at 3 apiece.
I think there might have been some confusion because Melvin Novotny sellied also by himself into the glass, but Carter Sanderson in the front of that net. Looks like he gets a stick on it. The one-time shot from Novotny, a low shot, which we've kind of criticized Muskegon all night for, but Sanderson making himself a presence at the top of the crease, gets a great deflection on that puck, and LaShaw isn't able to track it down.
Carter Sanderson, he's got a big frame, 6'2", 196, and he used it, and he caused just a little bit of havoc. I mentioned Chuck Blanchard did the same thing, coming and collapsing on that net front area. Waterloo took a look at the iPads. We're taking a look at the same thing they are. It's a clean goal, and it's a tie game.
Crease. Yeah, he's sorry to cut you off there.
No worries. It's tough because we can see this, and the fans at home cannot, so it's how do you explain that? So we're still at even strength, 4-on-4, now a tie game, and the Lumberjacks will get some power play time in 30 seconds. Here's Sanderson.
What a showing for the Pittsburgh draft pick in front of everybody here, huh?
He's got 2 goals, and they are 2 very big goals. First game of the new season. He gets a piece of it, but on his own half of the red line, so icing called against the Lumberjacks. We'll see if here the Lumberjacks use their timeout to get some fresh legs on.
When it was 1-1 after 2, could you have ever guessed this game would be 3-3 at this point?
I mean, it's the story of the game is just written itself.
Wild.
As you go on. With 31-26 in the shots, and we know they've missed at least a few. So the shots have been there. The goalies have played well, and it's not been clear. Like, there have been a couple of clear goals, collisions in front, bouncing pucks to the back of the net. They've been gritty hockey goals, that's for sure. Oh, Axelson forced to make a save. Out of the box comes Dexheimer. The Lumberjacks on a power play for the next 30 seconds. It comes out in front. In the corner, here's Vikla. Up top to Carlson. They're going to put it in their back pocket. Take some time off their kill.
Smart play. Also want to point out, Ezra, that while it is 3-3, Muskegon has not led once in this game.
No, they have not. They've had to respond every step of the way. Here comes Danny Clares looking to change that narrative. To the far side. Off for Benson. Down low, Christ. To the blue line, Clares. Out of the box, Erickson. Fired on into the glove of LaShaw, who holds on as Erickson leaves the box, and we get back to even strength with just about 45 seconds to go in regulation.
This game deserves overtime. Second game of the USHL season.
Yeah.
We saw a 10-2 showing in the first game. The defending champions playing against the team they beat in the Clark Cup final, and we get a 3-3 game in the last minute. I mean, you can't ask for much more here in Pittsburgh.
Games 3, 4, and 5 all needed extra time. Game 3 needed 2 overtimes to find a winner. It's just fitting that with 45 seconds to go, we're tied at 3 apiece.
Can Jack Christ do it again?
Well, right now I'm saying if I'm Carter Sanderson, I'm looking at Christo saying, hey, give me some of that overtime hat-trick hero magic.
Mm-hmm.
Face-off won by nobody. It's a battle for possession. Taken out by Chris. Down low, Drew Stewart fired on. It goes off the pad of the shot and to the near side corner. Now here comes Chase Jete. This guy had an overtime winner in Game 4 of the Clark Cup final. It comes out in front, though. The Hawks an opportunity to say, no, we don't want overtime. Here's Jete in the neutral zone. Knocked down by Jack Christ right at the center ice logo. 15 seconds to go in the period. Far side, great poke by Clares. Here's Christ. He sends it in.
What a play. What an incredible play by Danny Clares.
Icing waved off. Just 4 seconds to go in the game. Fired wide of Axelson, and that'll do it. We're going to overtime. Exciting, exciting, exciting hockey, that's for sure.
Are we doing a Bucci Grouse overtime challenge?
All yours.
I have my pick for Muskegon. I guess we'll pick one for both, right?
That's fair.
I'll start with Waterloo. For Waterloo, I'm going to take Cullen Emery. I think he's had a very strong game. And for Muskegon, if there's one guy who deserves the game-winning goal in this game, any guesses?
I got to go Carter Sanderson.
I was going to say Drew Stewart.
Hey, you know what?
He's deserving of one.
He is deserving of one. I think history tends to repeat itself. And the Lumberjacks won the Clark Cup on a hat-trick goal in overtime, and there's only one guy in the game that is poised for that to happen. That's Carter Sanderson. He's played strong, and again, it's not just been the pace for Carter Sanderson, but the physicality, causing havoc, being true to his game. We talked about it pregame downstairs. He only had 11 points in the USHL last year. He got drafted in the NHL draft. That talks to how big of an impact he has. It's showing in this game that the points are going to come the bigger the impact is.
Yeah, the stat sheet is representing the play. I mean, he's done everything the right way all night. He's he doesn't cheat the game, right? He's responsible defensively. He finishes his hits. He gets in his opponent's face. He talks smack. You can see him running his mouth a little bit. He does some stuff after the whistles. Like, this guy is a complete hockey player. And, the Pittsburgh Penguins brass and management that are here watching over him, they must be impressed because there's a lot of pressure on a kid like this as well, knowing he's playing in front of all the people who drafted him. He was here for development camp in the summer. It's the first game of the season. And for him to put the performance that he's put on tonight, it's been very impressive.
Well, you might get your wish. Drew Stewart, he's on with Jack Christ and Danny Clares. I'm going off the board here. You talk about deserve to win a meter. I'm going Cade Meyer is my pick on Waterloo. Off the board a bit. Young defenseman out of Wisconsin, 2008 birth year, but he's on the power play unit. You know he's got some offensive touch to his game. And I think if you're looking at a guy that's emotionally and physically involved in the game, you got Cade Meyer on the Waterloo side.
I like that pick.
I have not won very many Bucci Gross challenges, in case you can't tell. It's Stewart across from Jete. That's Drew Stewart for the Lumberjacks, joined by Kristen Clares. Jete, joined by Toby Carlson and Vikla, the defenseman in white who has a goal to his name today. A 4-on-3 power play goal. He leaves off for Jete. That's Chris's man. Chase Jete can show off the speed. Now he does. Toby Carlson working on Danny Clares. Puts the brakes on, far side wall, and cycles down low. Here's Vikla. And against the wall by Drew Stewart. Keeps possession, though, and works his way up the far side to the middle of the blue line. Still with it now, near side. Curls away from Stewart, who collides with Jete. Fired on, and Axelson makes the save.
That's a really smart play by Chase Jete, not really setting a pick necessarily, but kind of getting in the lane of the Muskegon Lumberjack defenseman to open up all that time and space for Vikla. Watch the middle of your screen. Jete just staying in his lane. He doesn't come outside the lane. He holds his ground, and he interferes a little bit with Drew Stewart, but Drew Stewart kind of skates into him. So to me, perfectly legal, and that's what guys need to do in 3-on-3. You got to create that time and space, and that's one way to do it.
Face-off won by the Jacks and Novotny, who's joined by Sanderson and Dexheimer. Sanderson behind his own net. Carries up the far side, finds Melvin Novotny, handcuffed himself a bit, but still with possession in his own zone. He retreats behind the net. Possession, the utmost importance in 3-on-3 overtime. Novotny has it for the Jacks and leaves off. Here comes Sanderson to the offensive zone. Carter Sanderson fires just wide of the netminder, LaShaw. Picked up by Novotny below the goal line. Here's Barrett Dexheimer. Fired on. He threw it wide of the cage as well. Sanderson keeps it low. Novotny alone in the slot. Puck never got to him, but here's Dexheimer. Walks the blue line. Burzkons jumps over the wall. Here's Rudy. Young forward out of Sessis, Latvia. Down to Novotny. Up the far side to the middle of the slot. Novotny still with it near side. 3:22 to go in overtime. Works out in front, though he's pushed below the goal line by the player wearing 10 in white. That's the forward, Colin Emery.
That whole possession starts, though, because Carter Sanderson hits the defenseman with the puck below the goal line and gets it back for Muskegon to get on offense.
Here's Lefebvre, fired on, blocked by Belusco, who's joined by Benson and Burzkons. Triple Bs for the Lumberjacks. Here's Erickson walking the blue line, joined by Jerez. And up front, Travis Lefebvre. Jerez for Erickson. Works down the far side, met by Burzkons. Now to the near side, he's met by Belusco. Erickson off. Gets it back far side. Away from Burzkons and back behind the net he goes. Great poke check by Benson. And now here's Belusco.
Not many shots so far in overtime. I think Carter Sanderson's the only person to shoot the puck so far.
Danny Clares behind the defense. Benson carries himself to the offensive zone. To the near side, Benson holds on his forehand. This guy can shoot. He leaves off for Jack Christ. The OT winner in Game 5. Tripped up, leaves off for Benson, who takes it back to the neutral zone. Christ, far side, taps it ahead for Danny Clares. Colliding with Lefebvre at the blue line. The battle continues. It's Vikla who comes away with it.
Neither team really taking a chance here in overtime. Both teams playing a little bit too safe.
You don't want to make the mistake, but if you don't take the chance, you're not going to score the goal. Puck goes off the stick of Jete and into his bench. So the face-off will stay at center ice.
This is where the summer hockey does translate well, though, because in summer you're playing a lot of 3-on-3, 4-on-4, because it's hard to really play 5-on-5 when you're training before the season. So a lot of these guys are probably used to playing a little 3-on-3.
You were down in SoFlo.
I was. That's right.
I know that because I was at a wedding a few weeks ago, and my cousin goes, "Hey, do you know Johnny Lazarus?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I was DMing him, trying to get him to come play. He was down here playing in SoFlo." I was like, "Yeah, that's fun."
Oh, he did DM me about a men's league game.
A Jewish men's league game.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's White Rabbit to the offensive zone, kicks out far side. Colin Emery back to White Rabbit, cuts across the goal line, and back on the near side it comes. Emery met by Dexheimer. Here's Drew Stewart, one-on-one on White Rabbit. Stewart up the near side, leaves off for Blanchard. A couple of former Riders connecting. Stewart holds, fires on. Great block by Nolan. Stewart collides with him in the corner, allowing Belusco and Sanderson to get on the ice. Emery up the far side, Belusco causing havoc. Emery holds away from Belusco. Adam Belusco still hard on him. Leaves it off for Carter Sanderson. He'll lead the rush. Under a minute to go in overtime. Sanderson, far side, lowers his shoulder. Great poke check, though, by Nolan. Shut it down. And now here comes LaFair behind Bergeron, but tough angle. Ty Bergeron separated the man from the puck and got him below the goal line.
Both teams look gassed right now.
36 seconds to go in overtime. Sanderson pokes it to the neutral zone. Belusco lost his stick. The Lumberjacks recover, but here comes Eriksson between his own feet. In onto Axelson. Fired it wide of the cage. Axelson took out the bottom of the net, but over the top went Eriksson.
That would have been something, huh? Oh, my God, what a move.
13 seconds to go. Here comes Danny Clares. Fresh on the ice, Novotny. Clares, near side, Novotny. On his backhand, fires a shot. Paddled away by LaShot. And that does it for the overtime period. Now, we didn't get to do this in the Clark Cup final. No shootouts in the playoffs. That's where we're going. It's a 3-round shootout. First team to win through 3 rounds gets the extra point. The loser, they still get 1 in the standings, but you don't come to Pittsburgh hoping to go away with 1 point. You come to Pittsburgh looking for 4.
That's right, and we just got another look at that move by Victor Eriksson, the between the legs one-on-one, and the poise to try to go upstairs on Axelson. And then on the other end, it's Melvin Novotny, who's had so many chances, but it seems like he's gone to the blocker side all night. And the blocker side for the Shaw has been unbeatable.
It went off the posts.
We're watching the rebound of the Victor Eriksson move. Wow, it did hit the post, the outside of the post.
Inches in Fleury's house. Fitting. The Lumberjacks, they will shoot first, it looks like. Now, the way it works in the USHL is before the game, the home coach decides if he wants to shoot first or second, and 90% of the time, the decision doesn't matter. But Waterloo and head coach Scott Gordon chose we'll shoot second. So the Lumberjacks go first. Melvin Novotny, the Stockholm, Sweden native, committed to UMass, drafted by the Buffalo Sabres this summer. In his USHL debut, he gets going first. Novotny, a left-handed shot to the near side. Little pace to his backhand, a big save by LaShot. All game, it's been lift the puck, lift the puck, lift the puck. Novotny had the entire upper net to shoot at, but a great save made by LaShot. And I say that, I couldn't lift the puck in that situation. I'd be leaving the puck on the blue line on my way in.
He had him beat, though. I think he tried to slip it 5-0 and just misplaced it. What a move, though.
Here's Chase Jete to the near side, the right-handed shot. Stick in the middle of the ice, fired on. Trickles off the post and stays out. A little bit of puck luck from number 29 in the Penguins jersey. Another save by the post, and Axelson says thank you.
Axelson almost accidentally knocked it in. He went to swipe it with his stick, and it just stood there, thank God.
Here's Drew Stewart, another right-handed shot. Across the way, stick middle of the ice with pace towards the goal. Fires on and scores! Drew Stewart gives the Jacks a 1-0 lead in the top of the second.
If that's the shootout winner, will it count as my guess or no?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What a little move, though.
Text Bouchigras, see what he says.
Great little move by Drew Stewart to fake that leg kick to get LaShaw to bite for 1 second, then beat him on the blocker side.
It's Eriksson, Swede on Swede action. Eriksson holds, fires, and scores. He outweighted Axelson and emphatically pushed it to the back of the net. We go to the third, tied up at 1 apiece.
Similar move to what he made in overtime. Obviously not a one-on-one. It's a breakaway situation, but this time Eriksson is able to put it past the post.
Here's Rudy Burzkons, left-handed shot weaving to the offensive zone. Slowly towards the goal, fires and misses the net. So Waterloo a chance to win it.
I like that move, though, by Burzkons because he tries to shoot against the grain. He gets LaShaw going from right to left. Just shot it a little bit too high, and here we go.
It's Cullen Emery the opportunity. Reading, Massachusetts native. Right-handed shot to the near side. With pace on his forehand, shut down by Axelson. We continue.
The puck kind of rolled on his stick there. Emery didn't really want to shoot it, obviously, as low as he did. I think he was going top glove. But a rolling puck with bad ice, you got to simplify your move.
In the National League, they'll come out with shovels and clear out the snow. We don't get that here in the USHL, but here comes Jack Christ, the Blackhawk killer. Far side, slowly to the middle, fakes the shot, fires on the backhand, and LaShaw. Chris lifted the puck. LaShaw got his glove in the lane.
Incredible save for LaShaw to stay with that, too, because it looked like he was beat for 1 split second, and a great recovery.
One of the biggest rivalries in international play, Finland-Sweden. This is Ate Vekla. Had a goal back in the third period. The offensive zone lost possession. They call it dead. He didn't quite score anyway.
He went for the rebound. Broke like 5 different shootout rules there.
He didn't go backwards.
No.
He's got that to his name.
But again, just showing when the ice is all snowy, it's easy to lose the puck like that. You got to just maybe make one move and shoot, simplify your move.
Here's Niles Benson. Had 3 points last Friday in Muskegon. Looks to get his team ahead. Fires the 5-hole and scores. Benson, a dirty move, and says what's up to the scratches in the crowd. Gives Axelson a chance with a save.
That was pretty, and Niles Benson's had a great game. He made that alley-oop pass to Sanderson for the first goal. He made that backdoor pass to Drew Stewart before he missed on the power play. Good for him to get one and possibly a big time.
Here's Dylan Nolan, slowly up the middle of the ice. Forehand, he scores. Let's go another round.
Never going to end this game. Great poise, though, by Dylan Nolan. I don't know how he squeaked that through the arm and the chest of Axelson. It looked like there was no space there from our angle. These guys just keep finding a way to continue this game.
Gustas Semadas had 9 goals in 4 games at main camp. Coach St. Clair gives him the nod. Free agent signing through training camp. Shut down, though, by LaShaw. Would have been such a storybook start to the season for a guy that's grinded his way to the USHL.
One too many moves. He bought the goalie on the fake and then had the backhand, but then went back to the forehand. Semadas just a little too much there.
It's Owen DeGraff. He's had a strong game. Future Penn State Nittany Lion, right-handed shot to the near side. Slowly up the ice, cuts towards the middle, fires on. Nice save by Axelson. We'll go again to the 6th round we go.
Another bobbling puck. I think both teams need to stop stick handling. Before they get to the slot area, they're kind of losing the puck and costing themselves.
The youngest guy in the game, Ty Bergeron, to the near side. Bergeron fires on, glove save, LaShaw.
Great move, though. You come in, you bury your head, you make a simple shot. Just a great save by LaShaw, but Ty Bergeron, the right idea.
Brock Schultz, the captain, named this week by Waterloo.
Who could have been ejected from this game.
Yes.
On that hit.
The offensive zone, he goes. Schultz fires, a nice blocker save by Axelson, and we'll play on.
The players were starting to get it, though. Just come in and try to pick your spot. Don't make too many moves. You might lose that puck.
Chuck Blanchard was acquired by the Lumberjacks less than a week ago. Right-handed shot to the far side, now cuts to the middle. Blanchard holds, slowly fires, turned aside by LaShaw. Waterloo, another opportunity. They give it to Travis Lefebvre, the Michigan native.
LaShaw does not look nervous at all in his blue paint. Neither goalie, Axelson too, but these guys have been so composed all night.
Lefebvre carries near side. Little pace to his game. Fired on. Axelson makes the save. Just had to check behind him just in case.
This is never going to end. What are we in round
Hey,
9?
This is 8 or 9. The only guys upset are the cleaning crew. That's begging for everybody to go home.
He's scoring. Carter Sanderson scoring.
Carter Sanderson, 2 goals in regulation. The Pittsburgh Penguins draft pick slowly works his way in and scores.
He's been too good all night to not bury one. But now, can Carl Axelson come up big with a game-saving stop and the end of a great, great opening game for the Muskegon Lumberjacks and the Waterloo Blackhawks?
It's Rio Traherne. Big game today. Makes his way in. 2007 birth year. Traherne to the offensive zone. Nice move, and he scores. He undressed the goalie. He almost undressed himself, slid in to the boards. And we keep going, and hey, this one's going to get a lot of oohs and ahs. It's Lars Hudson up for the Lumberjacks.
We can't overlook that move, though, by Rio Traherne. That was gross.
Not at all.
Oh, that was nasty.
Hudson, the far side. Shifty defenseman slowly works his way in, fakes a couple shots and roofed it. It went off the glove of the netminder and out of play. A nice move by Hudson. A better save by LaShaw.
He had it, too. Lars Hudson had that cross-body backhand shelf. It looked like it might have even grazed the crossbar, but probably just a little bit too high.
Toby Carlson, Anchorage, Alaska native, works his way in near side. Carlson bobbles the puck, still with it. Axelson didn't give up on the play and makes the save.
It's happening a lot on that side, not as much on the side where Muskegon's shooting. Waterloo has to try to adjust and avoid going into the slot if they can. I don't know what the move would be there. You just got to find a way to not bobble that puck. It's the 4th guy who's done it.
Anthony Thomas marooned to the near side. Cuts towards the middle. To his forehand. Beautiful save made by LaShaw. Shut it down. Sliding across the crease.
Looked like he had it too. And I've seen Anthony's hands. A lot of highlights of him playing roller hockey with his dad, Pat, who also has great hands. And I don't know who's going to be the hero, man. This is crazy, Ezra. I don't know what's going on here.
Here's Ty Mason. He found the back of the net in the Clark Cup final. Can give his team a win here in Game 1, but Carl Axelson says no.
Is this 11 or 12? What round are we on? I've lost track.
I'm not a numbers guy. You did the quick math earlier in this broadcast.
This is unreal.
Ethan Drabicki, Livonia, Michigan native. A guy the Lumberjacks have big hopes for this year. To the offensive zone. Fires on and scores. Drabicki gets his team ahead in the top of the whatever inning. We're in the extras, that's for sure.
I think it might be 14. They're putting it on the clock.
Yeah.
Just a simple play by Ethan Drabicki. And now let's see if Axelson can end this game.
Ryan Whiterabbit, a returner for Waterloo. Fires on, he missed the net. Carl Axelson picks up the win in the shootout. The Lumberjacks, they start the year 1-0.
Unbelievable. What an incredible game, an incredible start to this incredible weekend in Pittsburgh. An awesome event, a 14-round shootout between Muskegon and Waterloo. And good for Carl Axelson because he was excellent all night. And I'm out of words. That was a beyond entertaining game. Muskegon, once again, has the Waterloo Blackhawks number.
You got to be wondering, and it's funny because Waterloo is lights out in the regular season against the Lumberjacks in history. But the Lumberjacks, they find a way to get it. It is not the first career head coaching win for Colton St. Clair in our league. He was on the bench, the head coach of the Omaha Lancers for a handful of games, won 6 games on the Lancers bench, but it's his first as the head coach of the Lumberjacks. A big win. Not the first win for Carl Axelson either, but a big win for him in the Lumberjacks uniform. Johnny, this was exactly what the schedule makers envisioned when they put Muskegon and Waterloo day 1 against each other.
Yeah, it was the main event of the night. I think the perfect way to kick off everything that we're going to watch over the next 4 days. A lot of former NHL players in the building, a lot of NHL scouts, a lot of college scouts, and a lot of talent out on the ice. I mean, we saw some incredible performances on the Muskegon side. Obviously, Carter Sanderson is the one that stands out. Niles Benson had a great game. Drew Stewart played a heck of a game. Danny Clares in the back end was a stud on the blue line. And even for Waterloo, Chase Chate, we said his name all night long. Cade Meyer, more of an underrated guy. And then, I think Phileas LaShaw stole the show for the Waterloo Blackhawks, but that was a wildly entertaining night to start this.
It was so fun. We get to do it again tomorrow. That's the best part of it. The Lumberjacks, they take on the Sioux City Musketeers. There was the game earlier, a 10-2 win for Dubuque. This one, a 4-3, 14-round shootout win for the Lumberjacks. What a way to start the Fall Classic. The scoring summary with speed, much quicker than it took to get here. Ty Mason, 15-24 mark, his first of the year, assisted by Waterfield. It was a turnover inside the Lumberjack zone, but Carter Sanderson, the alley-oop, the Hail Mary, whatever sport you want to say, a beautiful goal, a beautiful assist from Niles Benson. Neither one of the goals were clear-cut goal scorers' goals. One came off a turnover deep in the zone. The other one bounced off the back wall, then off the netminder across the goal line. But they don't ask how, they just ask how many. Then in the third period, because no one found the back of the net in the second, it was a Tay Vikla just 23 seconds in, a 4-on-3 power play goal, assisted by Jete and Brock Schultz. But the Lumberjacks, when they need him most, Jack Christ comes in handy. 12:49 mark, late in regulation. His first of the year, assisted by Dexheimer and Blanchard. But Drew Waterfield responded with pace. Got his team back ahead by one. Ty Mason, the assist, his second point of the evening. But Carter Sanderson, the Penguins draft pick, he scored in the shootout. He had 2 goals in regulation, one of them in the final minute and a half. A redirection out in front, assisted by Novotny and Danny Clares. 4-3, the win. The goal to end the game in the shootout was Ethan Drabicki, but the goalies, I mean, you got star number 1 has to be the winning goalie, and Axelson. Star number 2 has to be LaShaw, and it can go either way. That was an unbelievable duel.
I would argue that Carter Sanderson might sneak his way. I would put Sanderson ahead of Axelson, and that's no discredit to Axelson, but Sanderson scoring that first goal to respond on the tying goal, obviously late to force overtime, and then a shootout goal as well. I mean, he was a stud all night. But yeah, to your point, Ezra, it was a goaltending duel, a goaltending battle, and one heck of a show that we saw here tonight.
It was awesome. Johnny, thank you so much for joining me here on the broadcast. You got a fun week planned ahead of you. You're talking to some of the top players for the NHL draft here in the USHL this week. Tomorrow, the Lumberjacks, they get the Sioux City Musketeers, 7 p.m. puck drop right here on FloHockey, the Lumberjacks Hockey Network, presented by Lakeside Services. One final time, your final score, the Lumberjacks 4, the Blackhawks 3, a shootout win for the Jacks. They're 1-0 to start the year. From everybody here at the USHL, FloHockey, and the Muskegon Lumberjacks, thank you so much for tuning in. For Johnny Lazarus, I'm Ezra Janello. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow night.